What is going on? AJ here. Before we get the show started, I want to let you know this episode is brought to you by MUZMM.com. They make these pretty killer duffel bags / backpack hybrids. Pretty darn sick, I gotta say. Anyway, if you want to save 20% on your next order, you can go to MUZMM.com/discount/STGeekPod. You can also use our discount code STGeekPod at checkout. Again, that's for 20% off, but we'll talk about that a little later on in the episode. Let's get things started. Welcome to another episode of the STGeek Podcast. We're talking movies, gaming, comics, and TV shows. As you know, it's going to be Endgame today. It's finally here.
Finally.
Episode 30. We landed on a whole nice round number for Endgame.
Perfect.
Kind of cool. We're going to be getting into that in a little bit.
Dirty 30.
Yeah, Dirty 30 for Endgame. I'm excited. I have some thoughts about this movie. They're kind of all over the place. I only got to see it once, as I mentioned earlier. I wanted to see it twice just for this show in particular, but, I mean, for myself also a lot. I feel like there's a lot to unpack.
I plan on seeing it again.
Yeah. It's so long, it's better to digest it a second time.
Right. I think long in a good way. It didn't feel like 3 hours to me. We'll get into more of the initial review later. What did you guys want to talk about before we get into it, though? I had one thing, but we'll talk about that later.
It's mostly Endgame stuff.
All right, let's go
But I did want to...
It's breaking all kinds of records. We know, Peter.
Right. We can get into specifics if that's the case.
There's no.
Oh, okay. No, that's not what it is? Okay.
It's none of that. It's actually... I do have some other comic book related news.
What's up?
So apparently Dark Phoenix, the reshoots that they did, they changed the third act's climax from outer space to a train.
Oh, which is why the train is in the trailers.
I guess so.
Wow.
Terrible, right?
So they had a chance of making things cosmic.
Hey, guys, you know what's better than space?
Train.
I mean, I guess maybe they thought it would be dumb that they started the movie in space, so why would they have to spend the billions of dollars to get back up there?
Didn't we see a train in this franchise even already? Didn't Magneto derail a train in Days of Future Past?
Oh, I don't remember that. I'm just thinking of X-Men 3 when he flips the truck over to get Juggernaut out.
I've blocked out most of that movie.
Okay,
I don't
rightfully so.
That one's a terrible one. Holy shit.
So yeah, that's horrible.
I'm thinking the CGI must have been so awful that they were like, fuck, let's put a train.
Yeah.
I don't see what else.
Let's use the remainder of this budget to make this work. At least try.
Just make the CGI better. Spend more time on it. Like you can make it better.
What about if they already had hit their budget, or it's X-Men, they're done.
Reshoots cost money too.
That's true.
But I'd imagine it's cheaper to do a train.
Redoing CGI versus getting all that equipment, live act, shooting a train. That's having to repay the actors even more for coming back. Nah, I don't think
you don't
so
believe
at all.
it?
No, not
they're
at
just
all.
dumb. It's just a dumb idea. All right. Fuck you, X-Men.
I mean, we enjoyed Captain Marvel for the most part. I think we could say, but we also could probably agree the CGI in that space battle wasn't the greatest. As she's flying around, flying through spaceships, destroying
it wasn't
them.
great.
But I just can't imagine the CGI being much worse than that. But then again,
it's Fox Studios. It's not Disney.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe the budget is significantly less for this film. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I think that. Okay, so when I went to go see Endgame, back to Endgame, it all comes back to that in the end. Didn't mean to do that there. But what was I going to say? The latest trailer for Dark Phoenix that they showed, I wasn't that into it. Although the one before that, I kind of did like more. I'm stuck between wanting to see this movie a little bit and also being the trepidation is kind of killing me because you guys have not been so great, I guess, as far as their batting average. I don't know.
I mean, we're going to have to see it.
Yeah, we're going to have to see it one way or another for this show, but yeah. Do we? Yeah.
I think I'd rather talk about a wall.
If we saw Dumbo, we're going to see this freaking movie. At least this is more relevant to our, I guess, what we're about.
If it's bad, I want to see it. You see, there's a pattern here. Normally, when I walk into a movie expecting it to be bad, I'm normally surprised.
True.
That doesn't mean it's good, but it's never as bad as I think it's going to be.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a fair point, actually. And at the very least, we'll have something fun to make fun of.
Wait. I do have a question. What about Batman vs. Superman?
I'll watch that.
Did you go in knowing it was bad, and did you walk out thinking it was worse?
I walked in thinking, okay, the reviews are bad. But let's see if they're correct. Let's see. I'm gonna create my own opinion with this.
Yeah.
And fuck, it was bad.
Okay.
Critics didn't like that movie like as soon as it came out, right?
Well,
critics don't really mean. I mean,
when it was first like that very first screening, everybody said it was amazing, but it was probably a theater full of Glens. It was
probably a theater
DC
full of people
fans.
that worked on the damn movie
who were gonna say it was amazing.
Yeah.
It wasn't until it was released publicly that everybody was like,
yeah, because they were talking about like it got like a standing ovation, like people were losing their shits.
No.
It's like that
never happened with a Marvel movie.
Exactly. So why would it happen for BVS at that point?
Have you guys seen that tweet? It's doing the rounds on the meme pages, but somebody tweeted out like, you know who wouldn't have had a problem with Thanos? And then it shows like a silhouette of all the DC heroes. And then the first reply is, let's have them beat Rotten Tomatoes first.
Yes.
Nice. That was
yes.
burn.
Got him.
That's a roast if I ever heard him. That's amazing. Oh, my God. I love that. Very cool. Was there anything else you guys wanted to talk about? What else we got? Just throw them out there, man.
There's
Go
one
for
more.
it. Sure.
And then we can get, I think we're all very
We're
anxious
eager
to talk
about Endgame,
Yeah.
not anxious. What am I saying? So apparently Respawn, the people who made Apex Legends and Titanfall, are actually pushing back Titanfall to focus on Apex.
Cool.
Oh, okay.
Which is interesting.
I mean, it's not a completed game, though, right? There's only like 1 or 2 maps. Am I incorrect in saying that?
Apex Legends?
Yeah.
It's only 1 map.
There you go.
And see, here's the thing. So I actually think, as disappointing as it is, because Titanfall, I like the Titanfall games, the first and second. I think the second one is a vast improvement of the first.
There's a story, a real story.
There's a story, and just the mechanics. It feels a lot. Not that the first one was bad mechanically.
I love
it was
the
incredible.
mechanics in that game. Yeah,
very impressive with what they were able to achieve, especially at the time.
Agreed.
But I'm totally fine with them pushing back a Titanfall 3 because Apex. I'm the only one that's played Apex in this room, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I love it. It's hands down, I think, the best battle royale game that there's been. And I think you kind of need to spend a lot of time. Fortnite is its biggest competitor. And Fortnite has already kind of taken the number 1 spot back.
Oh, really? I
Yes.
thought it was dying
Really
down.
already?
Yes, and I think the reason is they have so many people at Epic working on that game. They change it like week to
Constantly.
week. Every week there's something new. They're
see.
always bringing people back, and Apex doesn't
It's
really
same.
have that.
It's getting
mostly
stale,
the same.
right?
Yeah, they're adding things, but just not as quickly.
Sure.
And so
Smaller
I think
team
this
probably
is
behind it.
a long-term play to get those players back. I'm still playing Apex.
I'm sure a lot of people
I
still
like it.
are. I'm sure they're still in the millions to a degree. I wouldn't doubt.
Yeah, so I just thought that was interesting.
No,
Thought I'd bring that
that's
up.
cool.
Okay,
I thought Fortnite was dying, to be honest with you. But
That's
then
what
for
I
you to
had
say
been
that,
when
hearing.
Apex
it
first
seems
came
so
out,
on. That's cool.
when Apex first came out, everybody was like, Apex, Fortnite is for kids, even though it's totally not.
I mean, people could say that because of the aesthetic. I mean, but then again, at the same
Aesthetics
time,
last longer.
I would say that Apex has more of a look that I'm good with, and one of the big reasons I haven't played Fortnite is one, it's more of a third-person shooter, which I don't really care for that much. I do like Gears though. But Gears is a different kind of third-person shooter, in my opinion. Very, very different. It's kind of unique. No one really does what Gears does so much, at least in my experience.
And nobody does it
but
as
also,
well, I'll give you that.
What's that?
Nobody does it as well, that's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, Epic Games, once again, they know what they're doing with their franchises. But I will say, though, that, I mean, also, from Apex to Gears of War, that's more of a similar aesthetic as opposed to what Fortnite is doing. I just don't really care for the cartoony art style. That isn't to say I don't enjoy cartoony art styles. I was just watching a Let's Play of freaking Beautiful Joe before we got started. So, I mean, depending on the game and the art style itself, it can alter. But I think Fortnite, for me, just the look doesn't really do it for me.
These art styles...
I was going to say, do you think it's because it's a shooter and it's this art style? Because Beautiful Joe isn't a shooter.
Yeah, that's also true. I think it's also a very different art style. I could be incorrect in this, but I feel like Fortnite is more of like a Western cartoony vibe, when Beautiful Joe is more of the East and Japanese inspired. Maybe that's more my thing. I am an anime and manga fan. Maybe that has to do something with how I'm put together. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. Very introspective today on the podcast.
So cartoony aesthetics, they age better. Much
they
better.
definitely can.
So like realistic games, they kind of like as technology grows and gets better and gets more realistic, like those. You look at what realistic was 5 years ago; it's
like,
very different
fuck.
now.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
I think they're pushing for longevity. Not only that, but it also brings in a wider crowd.
Yeah, possibly so. Younger
So-
and older. Yeah, that makes sense.
I feel like I'm always defending I don't even like it that much, but I feel like I'm always defending it because people bash it so hard.
I'm not hating on it. I honestly don't have much of an opinion on it at the
agreed.
moment. Yeah, I haven't played it enough to know. I don't think I've never played a full round of it. It just doesn't appeal to me that much. But the aspect of battle royale seems fun. Like, don't get me wrong, I was tempted to like get into PUBG back when that was like the GOAT. But not so
That's
much
what
for me.
got me to try Fortnite in the first place, is because I only PUBG was only on PC at the time.
Yes.
And so Fortnite was the only battle royale game I had available to me on Xbox because my PC's shit and it couldn't run PUBG.
Imagine how different history could have possibly been if PUBG was put on Xbox and PlayStation as well as PC early on in its lifestyle or in its life cycle, and also the online was good on Xbox and PlayStation. That would have been we could probably be telling a different story right now if that were the case.
I still think Fortnite would have been the king because again, that aesthetic, it's a wider range. It being released on everything, it's on Switch, it's on mobile.
And it's very silly, right?
It seems to not take itself
it.
too seriously. Yeah, good
Correct.
point. They have dances and stuff like that. Thanos was in the game, you know.
Didn't they have an Avengers one recently?
Yeah.
That's cool. They put him back in, you said?
Yeah, they did a new game mode to promote
Nice.
Endgame.
Makes sense. That's rad. All right, so speaking of Endgame, you guys ready to get into it?
Okay, so non-spoilers first.
Oh,
Let me talk. Non-spoilers first, of course. We'll let you know before we get into spoilers, but I'm trying to think of what we can say that isn't too spoilery.
I was
going to
say that too. There honestly isn't a lot
hard,
of stuff you can say because they've given us so little information going into it.
Yes. Let me just give you a little information as to my experience with Endgame.
Okay, let's hear it.
It'll be pretty quick, I'm sure. It's just this has nothing to do with the movie itself. It's not to knock the movie. It is not the movie's fault. If anything, the movie saved my experience overall.
Oh, okay.
But the thing is, okay, so I went to this theater.
Heard the story yet.
It has the biggest IMAX screen around our area. It's like a city or two away. It's not that bad. It's like a 25-minute drive from here.
Which theater is it?
Over in Ontario.
Okay.
Not Ontario, Canada. Anyway, they're slowly narrowing down our location. But anyway, so we went there, and it's nice, a big IMAX screen. It's glorious. However, trailers start, and it's only using about 5/6 of the screen, if I'm not mistaken, approximately.
Shit.
So there's a big chunk, but sometimes that happens. And my girlfriend was asking, she's like, "Oh, but what's going on?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know." And then a couple next to us, the girls seemed to be the more tech savvy between the two. She was sitting to my right, and to the right of her was her boyfriend, and I hear them discussing it too, like little murmurs, like, "Oh, what's going on? Why does it look like that?" And it was like a weird, like, fuzzy visual, like the lettering was really bad, the outlining of the characters that were throughout each trailer were kind of like off, and I was like, what the hell? And then I thought about it, and I told Sin, I was like, well, maybe these trailers aren't formatted for IMAX, you know what I mean? Sometimes that happens.
Right.
So it won't take up the whole screen, but then once the movie starts, you'll see the image expand
yes.
and fill out the screen. So I was like, cool, let's just keep waiting for that. And then they showed the Godzilla trailer I think you were talking about for Captain Marvel. It's the King Ghidorah reveal, right?
Yeah.
It was a sick reveal, but I'm like, why didn't they just save that for the movie? Because you could tell that there were like cuts in it to kind of speed up the scene.
Yeah, clearly, yeah.
But at the same time, it was super cool, and it got Sin and I hyped to see the movie. So I guess it was overall effective.
It kind of got me a bit more excited as well.
Yeah,
despite the fact that they just ripped a scene from the fucking movie and showed it to you.
A pretty glorious scene. I was like, oh my god! Like you get to see the sheer magnitude of what these characters are going to look like on screen.
Oh my god, I have to see that in IMAX.
That's
IMAX
exactly
or
what
Dolby,
I thought.
Though?
Either one. I think for pure sound. I mean, Dolby is a pretty big
Dolby's
screen.
amazing. Yeah,
It's a pretty big. I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, I think it's great.
It's. I might wait to see it in Dolby for this freaking reason I'm getting to. So the thing is, Godzilla trailer was awesome, but it still looked like shit because of what was going on screen. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Okay, I guess they didn't format this trailer for IMAX either, even though I'm sure they did because the movie is meant to be seen in IMAX. Anyway.
And that particular preview, it's even like it's like got IMAX all over it. It's like see it in IMAX. This is shot in IMAX. Hey, did we mention IMAX?
Exactly. Every
You're sitting in IMAX seats right now.
Right? In case you didn't remember
that
you didn't spend the extra $10 on or whatever, you're in IMAX and it's going to see it in that. Anyway, so that trailer goes by. Other trailers go by. Star Wars goes by. It was awesome too, but again, super condensed. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And not only was it condensed, but again, it was a very blurry image. Finally, movie starts out of nowhere. Like, they didn't even have like the whole like IMAX roller coaster scene where it's like, welcome to IMAX, 3, 2, 1. Didn't do anything like that. All of a sudden, movie starts, and I'm like, okay, why does the screen still look like this? Nothing changed. Still super blurry. It pretty much got to the point to where, like, have you guys ever taken off your 3D glasses while seeing a movie?
Yes.
Yep.
How there's like a dual image because it's stereoscopic?
Yeah.
It was that.
Oh.
But the thing is, while the trailers were rolling, I was asking Sin, I was like, hey, babe, like, can I see my phone? I just wanted to check during the trailers. I'm like, did I fuck up and buy 3D tickets?
Right.
But then I was looking around at the crowd next to us. No one was wearing the 3D glasses. And again, I was like, I'm pretty sure I bought IMAX 2D tickets.
Right.
And so sure enough, I look at the tickets, IMAX 2D. I'm like, okay, that's good. At least I know I didn't mess up. But then I'm like, maybe I got the showtime wrong. Looked around. There was only one 11 p.m. showing. IMAX 2D. So, and again, I'm still looking at the crowd. I'm like, and maybe the dumbasses around me, including myself, just didn't get 3D glasses. No one's wearing them. I'm being like a creeper looking at everyone. What the fuck is going on? The movie's rolling. It's looking cool. I'm excited. And then I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then finally, I realize one of two things. One, the movie, or the trailers, it took them like 10 minutes to get the trailers rolling. So the movie didn't start till about 11:10, 11:20. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I was starting to wonder, like, what's going on? Like, what are these idiots doing? Like, why is it taking so long? Maybe they're just waiting and being considerate, letting people get to their seats. Because it did take people a little while. Even still, movie's rolling, and then it's still like that. You could see, like, a slight 2 images of everyone, but it's not too bad. Like, it's just enough to where it kind of looked like every scene in the movie was slightly out of focus.
Okay.
And if there was lettering on screen, or if there were images far away from the camera, you could notice it a hell of a lot more. It was like completely out of focus. I'm like, what the fuck? So my theory is either the jackasses working the projector either forgot to switch it to 2D, or fucking IMAX, Edward Cinema, Regal movie theaters or whatever decided
calling them out.
We're gonna. Oh yeah, they fucked up. Like they forgot to flip a switch or something, or they condensed the image to where they can almost make it quote unquote passable as 2D, even though it was originally for a 3D image. So I don't know, either they fucked up and they just didn't realize what they were doing, or they condensed the image to try to make it passable.
whole movie like that?
Yeah.
I would have been pissed.
I wanted to get up,
Nobody
but I didn't know if there was going to be another later showing. I didn't want to risk not having to be able to see it and then not be able to watch this movie for you guys for the week, for this episode itself. But I was just I was enjoying the movie.
But it's always in the back of your mind.
It was always in the back of my fucking mind. Like, why does this shot look so bad? This is Disney we're talking about. This is Marvel. This is the toppest, the highest tier of cinema you can reach right now as far as CGI goes. Why does this not look so great? And it still did look great, but I'm just saying, any image that wasn't like supposed to have a close-up on scene didn't look very good.
They didn't give you any free movie passes or anything?
It sounds like nobody said anything, which is weird.
That is very weird.
No one wanted to get up.
In Ontario, of all places. I feel like somebody would have complained like 5 seconds into it.
Right?
What the fuck?
It was just a complete disappointment. The movie itself, we'll get into it. I enjoyed aspects of it, but I was just completely like taken out of it. Even though, again, I was continually drawn back in with the drama that happens throughout this film.
Right.
But I just had to preface, this is my little rant and my sad story to this epic movie.
Damn, that sucks. You beat me 100%.
My heart was broken. I was like, why is this happening?
So my story, which I don't even feel like
telling
telling
anymore.
We'll get into the review shortly. Because yours is way worse.
I want to hear it now.
I'm upset for you. Like, Fuck.
But I'm also upset that nobody probably complained.
Yeah, that blows my mind.
Because at that point, I would have been like, no, I paid this much money
for this movie of all movies.
Yeah.
Do
of
this for Venom.
Movies.
Why
right?
this movie?
That movie I could have gotten up and afforded to miss a few minutes of. But this was Endgame. I didn't want to afford to miss anything.
That pisses me off. That upsets me so much.
What are you going to say, Peter? Let's hear your
So I tried. So I went to a dine-in theater, which means like you sit down, You can order like from your table. They bring you food like
Gotta love it.
To your seat or whatever.
Do you have to do this before the movie starts?
No, you can do it during.
Is there a screen or how do you order?
There's like a button you press and then a server comes and they're just like, oh, what do you want? And then they have menus on the seats.
That's not distracting?
So,
okay.
It's kind of distracting.
Yeah, okay.
Little distracting. I fucking hated it. My girlfriend fucking loved it because she doesn't give a shit what's going on screen half the time. She's like, oh, things aren't blowing up. Whatever. I'll just go over here.
But the exposition.
Yeah. So I fucking hated it. Not as bad as AJ's because I would forget about it most of the time. Like I'd see people pass by, but I was so focused on the movie that I wouldn't even notice it. But then it was just, the moments that I did notice were just they really ticked away at me. Like towards the end of the movie, I forget. I don't even remember what moment was happening. Well, we couldn't talk about it anyway because we're not in spoilers. Sure. But I remember they came. They're just like, "Oh, you done ordering anything? Here's your check." And I remember just like staring at him, just until he left, like to the point to where he kind of looked uncomfortable. And I'm just like, "Good, yes, get out of here, get out of here,
right?
Get out of here."
I'm sure they get that look a lot.
Damn, that sounds so. I mean, I get bothered when I hear somebody sneeze.
Somebody's phone went off in mine. I didn't think. So that annoyed me.
It's so bothersome.
I was talking to my girlfriend about this. Like, when did this happen? I don't, because it seems like every time I go to the movies now, there's something that happens.
Yeah, I agree.
That pisses me off.
But do you think maybe because when we were younger, we just didn't care as much?
Oh no, I always cared.
Maybe.
Really, I never
like
used to care.
Cared.
And then now that I've been going to the theaters more often for this goddamn podcast, people annoy the fuck out of me. I just think, oh my god, who's gonna annoy me this time?
Yeah. It's starting to get to me.
Did you see what happened? Did you? Yeah, we all saw.
We all saw it.
Right.
We're gonna watch a movie.
Exactly.
Well, my experience was very pleasant.
Go fuck
I'm
yourself.
glad you had that.
I got there at the movie started at 8:15. I got there at 8:10. The line was very long for the popcorn, and I was with Yvonne, and I wanted to go, and she wanted her goddamn popcorn.
I was gonna say I thought John would want his popcorn. I thought you were a popcorn boy.
No, because the line was long. It was already like 8:13, 8:14. I'm like, fuck.
We didn't get to our seats.
But we ended up saying to get her goddamn popcorn and the goddamn nachos.
Love you, Yvonne.
I got the nachos. I got the high seat. I got my good seats. Everything went smooth.
Bailey's pulled that on me before, and I'm just like, okay, have fun waiting in line by yourself. I'm going.
I was about to leave. I was like, okay, it's 8:16. I'm gonna bounce. But then we were down to one person, so I was like, I'm already here. I don't want to make a fucking hold everything.
Of course. That's gentlemanly of you.
But
I'll have to say this has become more of a review of our experience for Endgame rather than the movie itself. We'll definitely get into that in just a moment. But I will have to say, had the screening been perfect for my fucking movie. Had all that gone well, the audience was actually pretty awesome for mine. Everyone was quiet and respectful, especially during certain scenes near the end, where I'm sure you guys had a quiet audience. I'm sure there was a part where
my
everything
audience was great.
Pretty
for the most part, my audience.
Okay.
It's a long movie. People are bound to say something.
There was one part near the very, very end where this guy tried to start a slow clap. I felt bad for that guy. I was like, nope, not going to join in on that one. You're on your own, pal. I felt bad though, and I laughed a little bit.
Claps. I'm like very whatever about. It's not a live cast, people.
Exactly right. They're not there to appreciate it, but I guess it's like the whole camaraderie of everything, which can be fun. Like everyone cheered before the movie. I applauded before the movie as well.
Like that makes sense because you're excited and all that stuff. I don't understand the clapping when the credits start to roll because, like John said, it's like nope, they're not here. Like what? Nobody that worked on this movie is here. Like
unless you get lucky enough to be a part of that screening. But yeah. Otherwise, if you're not at the premiere, they don't care. They don't know. I'm sure they care, but they don't know. Anyway,
this is one of those movies. I think I mentioned it a couple last week or the week prior. How I missed going to midnight screenings because of the crowds.
Yeah.
I went to see it Friday morning at 10:30, and my crowd was very much like a midnight crowd.
That's cool.
They were clapping at stuff. That's like when a certain character would come on screen, everybody would like, whoa! Yeah, like, and I missed that stuff.
Yeah. That is fun to have that shared experience with everyone. That's what makes the movies worth going to. Besides, the huge screen and hopefully the great sound and hopefully a clear fucking image. It's just that shared camaraderie and enjoyment is part of what makes going to the movies worth it still.
I'm with my people. They're just a bunch of nerds, just like me. I'm probably a bigger nerd than most of them, but whatever. We're all in this together.
Exactly. Various levels of excitement and knowledge of what we're about to experience. Speaking of experience, let's talk about it. So, non-spoilers, where do you guys want to start? Is there the beginning is a spoiler in a way.
Let's talk about our let's not talk about anything that happens in the movie, but how we felt about the movie.
Our feelings,
yes.
Oh, we can talk about our feelings.
Yeah.
This movie made me a bitch. Oh my god.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me too.
Did John and Peter cry?
There was a lot of moments.
Well, there were a couple of moments where I was like,
yeah,
but
exactly.
there was one moment where I cried a bit.
No spoilers yet.
Yeah, there were some moments where I was like, where I kind of had like almost like an out of body experience. I'm almost getting teary eyed thinking about it right now, honestly, because I was like, I can't believe, since I was a kid, I've loved these characters, and I can't believe how far they've come, and all these people that are into them. Like, because when we were kids, it was a pretty niche thing, especially Captain America and Iron Man, like, and Thor.
Yep.
They weren't very well known. At the time, Spider-Man was the most popular character.
True.
Yeah,
so to see how far we've come and how much of an audience they have now, like, it really touched me. It really touched my soul in a lot of different ways.
We've fallen in love with these characters over the course of 11 years now. Mm-hmm. Most definitely.
That's a long time.
It is.
That's a lot of growing up.
That's a lot of growing up. Yeah, dude. That's like a third of my life right there, of our life right there. Jesus.
It's really good.
Dude. It's pretty insane to think. I would say that I think you said it right, Peter. I think you put it in like a text message. You might have even tweeted it, if I'm not mistaken. And this is just a paraphrase, but like, I can't believe they pulled it off. But they pulled it off.
Yeah, they did.
Like, I felt like it was a pretty fair balance. I don't know if it was as fair of a balance as Infinity War was able to do, as far as like all these characters that are in the movie and how much exposure you get of each one.
Right.
This one was not quite as much, but for good reason, I think, as well.
Right.
But overall, I think there was still a good balance to the film.
I definitely think Infinity War was better, but
in certain ways.
Yes, and I think what they did perfect. I think Endgame was the perfect ending to this amazing saga, 100%.
It makes me sad, but yes, it is an ending to a saga for sure. And but it makes me sad, but in a good way. Like, I can't believe the somewhat level of finality to this. I mean, at the end of the day, maybe they can utilize some things they do in this movie to continue with certain things.
We'll get to that in spoilers. I have some theories.
Yeah, but
there are some threads open.
Yeah,
I'm glad that we're on a similar page with that. At least
great threads.
Yeah.
Amazing threads.
Mm-hmm. But I would say overall this movie they knocked it out of the park. I think the pacing of Infinity War was maybe a little bit better as far as like. This part of the movie. Now, like, I think it was more clean cut as far as like the beginning, middle, end. This one was more just like they had to wrap up a lot of things near the end, which again we'll get into spoilers.
It felt like Return of the King.
But I enjoyed both movie endings as well.
It's that kind of movie, though. You have to expect that it's going to have 7 different endings.
Right. It is pretty slow because, I agree with you that Infinity War, the pacing was a lot better. There was a lot more going on and a lot more frequently. This movie is pretty slow, honestly.
Well, the first third, or maybe 45 to an hour.
This is what I've been saying. I think Infinity War was definitely more action-driven.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Endgame was more story-driven.
Which
more
also makes sense
emotion-driven.
considering where we are in the story.
Yeah,
like
100%.
They lost in Infinity War, and we get to see
as far as I'm concerned, it's just one big movie.
Yeah, it's like chapter 1, chapter 2.
Yeah, they're perfect accompaniments of each other. Like, you probably should see one and then the other. That's 5-6 hours of your day. But I would love to do that now.
Yeah.
I want to do that now. I can't wait to do it. I think before I see Endgame again, which I will definitely see in theaters. I will definitely see in theaters again. Probably this time at Dolby Cinema. Sorry, Edwards. But anyway, I'm so bitter.
I would be.
I'm so fucking bitter.
My
I might
popcorn was pretty good, guys.
I'm so glad you
I'm
enjoyed
surprised
it.
you didn't get up. I really am. I would have been
I
like,
wanted to.
not for this movie.
Yeah.
Start the fucking thing over.
Right
I
over.
don't give a shit.
I want to see trailers again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably should have. I didn't get out till like 2:30 a.m. that morning, so I probably wouldn't have gone out till 3, but it would have been worth it had knowing I watched the movie the way I wanted to watch it. I just feel like, unfortunately, as emotional as I was throughout the movie and as much as I enjoyed it, I feel like maybe it took away from the frustration I had.
Yeah.
So I was only like able to meet the movie halfway every time.
Yeah.
I don't want to keep harping on it. I probably will throughout this review. But just because it affected me so much inside. I was like, God damn it, I want to enjoy this so much more than I am. But anyway, but that isn't to say I couldn't appreciate what the hell was happening. We got characters, no spoilers, that we didn't expect to even see in this. Like, I can think of at least one in particular from another franchise of these films that I was like, oh, whoa, you're in this? Cool. But anyway, yeah, I think the character variety was awesome. I think they did a good job of, even though they didn't have equal exposure of each character as opposed to Infinity War, they still made them count in the right areas. I don't know if that's vague enough, but I think
character, no matter how big or small, has a moment in this movie, which is an accomplishment in its own right because of just how large the roster is. Oh yeah. And it also makes me appreciate some of what they've been able to do. There's a lot of callbacks to previous movies, some obvious, some not so obvious, and it makes you appreciate even some of the worst movies in the MCU. And not only that, but it makes you think they really have been planning this for 10. Kevin Feige's a genius, and he's brilliant that he's been able to pull this off.
Yeah.
Like it's mind blowing in so many different ways. And as I said in my tweet, I honestly didn't think they would be able to up the ante from Infinity War, but they surpassed all of my expectations.
The fun part about upping the ante is that it was done in a different way that I don't think anyone could have guessed coming.
There was
some of the theories were right.
Some of the theories were pretty.
Oh, really? Yeah. I avoided them. I just had to avoid them.
Well, we talked about some of these theories.
True.
And the theories were right. I mean, some of them.
Some of them were
I would say the way that Thanos is handled in this movie was not what I expected. I'll just leave it to that. That's what I'm alluding to. Just that I did not expect it to go down like that.
I do want to say this. Bringing up Thanos. And this is just characters in general. I'm not ruining anything yet. But I do feel like they weakened certain characters and they made other characters very OP in this one.
Ooh.
Okay.
I'm interested to see when
two
we get into
characters
specifics.
Specifically.
Okay. I can't wait till we get into that.
Yeah,
all right.
me too.
Sweet. Is there anything else we want to say before we get into spoilers?
Nope.
No.
All right.
Okay. Wait. Hold on.
Oh,
one thing.
What's that? Oh, before spoilers.
No, not before spoilers. We're getting into spoilers now.
Okay.
We're in spoilers.
Spoilers.
I'm going to do something that I never do. I'm going to talk about the good stuff before the bad.
Sure.
And I'm going to fanboy the fuck out because I was fanboying the fuck out for this whole fucking movie.
Okay.
How fucking awesome was it when Captain America picked up the fucking hammer?
Shit.
How fucking hype were you?
That was great.
Oh, we're getting right into that.
You know what was great? You know what part was great? When they were standing next to each other,
yeah,
and then Thor was like, "No, you take the little one."
Yeah, it was fucking great.
In the midst of that action, they still had time to joke around. I love that. They still found ways to add in humor, same old Marvel humor.
This is probably something we should have mentioned in non-spoilers, but it doesn't matter. The comedy was pretty damn good. Like, despite the fact that most of the movie was very somber.
You guys continue. I'm going to close that door. Go ahead.
Was very somber and sad. Like, they still threw comedy bits in there, and they worked.
Paul Rudd,
damn near all the. Paul Rudd, his comedic timing is on point, like always.
I love the taco scene where he's getting his taco off already.
And then it just blows away. And then Professor Hulk comes and gives him another taco. By the way, Professor Hulk in this,
he's wearing clothes.
He's not naked
and a cardigan.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who'd have thought?
That's pretty dapper,
right?
He might be more handsome as Professor Hulk. Just saying.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, the confidence is there. He's very hipstery.
Yeah,
very much so.
That was pretty good. That part was awesome. The part. Oh fuck! I don't know where to start. Like it's so good. So somebody else talk. I need to collect my emotions and my.
You need to collect your emotions.
Well, since you brought up that part first, I just remember like the moment Thor was on the ground getting his ass kicked by Thanos. All of a sudden, you see the hammer lift. And then it flies.
I thought it was gonna hit Thanos in the back of the head.
Yeah,
I didn't think it was gonna fucking get to Cap.
Right,
like the way it did,
and just the shot of him, like the way he catches it while he's holding his shield, and then just like, oh my god!
It was like he wielded it his whole life. Like, it's cool to see that how worthy he now is. That's pretty.
And
awesome.
then Thor immediately says, "I knew it," which is. They left that breadcrumb in Age of Ultron when he like makes it nudge when everybody tried to lift the hammer. There's so many little things like
nervous.
that. And then there's the part almost immediately after that, because like after he picks up the hammer, he has his little time to shine. He does some really cool shit with it while he's fighting
I love
Thanos.
his technique.
Oh my god,
that was sick.
But ultimately, he gets knocked down again.
Yeah,
and then we have that moment. Oh god, it's giving me chills just thinking about it. There's the moment I'm getting teary, like choked up again. There's the moment where Captain America's all alone. It's just him. He's by himself.
God, that was scary.
And then he's standing up against the army of Thanos.
Yep. That was.
And then there's that shot. There's
scene.
that one shot where you just see Captain America like
by himself
just
he got cut bad
and
in his arm.
Yeah.
Oh, he was down. He barely picked himself up.
And he didn't need to say it, but like he had that whole like I could do this all day mentality thing.
Oh yeah,
which they kind of make fun of earlier in the movie, which I thought was great.
Great scene.
But like he's just there, like he's ready to do it. He's ready to go against this entire army. And then you hear like the his comms or what have you, and then you just hear Sam Wilson going on your left, which is the callback to when when Captain America was doing it in Winter Soldier. He did it to him, and it's so fucking good. It's so good.
They pulled that scene off beautifully.
It was great.
Yeah, like that was the best way.
Then
all
the wizards come and open.
Yeah,
up
and then you see the portal in the
God.
background, and then everybody you see
You're
freaking
like,
Black Panther, and you see it's so
I
good.
feel like people freaked out more over Black Panther than anybody else in my theater.
I mean, he was
Spider-Man
fun to watch
for
on
me.
screen.
It was Black Panther and
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Once Spider-Man swung into the scene, literally, it was like wow, and then everyone went crazy.
Yeah,
everyone went crazy.
And then he finally said it. He did the thing. He said, "Avengers Assemble."
Yes, that was sick.
God, it was so good.
Super well done. I would say every line that could potentially come off as like a comic book throwback. Every actor pulled it off super well. We got Avengers Assemble. We have I Am Iron Man.
Yeah.
Oh.
God, that one really for a
That
second
one was great,
I didn't know what he was going to say because clearly he was going to say something.
Yeah.
And I thought it was going to be cheesy. I thought it was going to kill it for me. But then I was just like, that's perfect.
It was the perfect line to say.
Perfect.
In
It
those
brings
moments.
everything full circle. It's brilliant. Everything about it is so good.
Yeah.
Maybe not everything, but most of the things.
Yes.
Not everything, but everything was super well done. You get the Cap v Cap fight, which was hilarious.
Great.
And it's super fun to watch as well.
That's America's ass.
That is one of the best lines I've ever heard in my life. And I think they used that in this movie. I love that they weren't afraid to shy away from very much vielse in this movie. I feel like,
not at all.
I feel like
the most violent.
Spider-Man activates his kill mode for a second.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. So
Yeah.
just shanking dudes, shaking aliens aplenty. On top of that,
Which again is a
good
throwback
amount of
to
language
his
in this
movie.
film.
Like there's so many just
yeah.
so good.
It was pretty ridiculous. The spoilers are kind of crazy in this movie. I love. Forgive me, Grandmaster. Is that the character that trains Doctor Strange?
Ancient One,
yes. Grandmaster. Anyway, but I loved her reveal as well. That was one of the ones I was talking about where I didn't expect to have to see her at all.
They used this movie to kind of like fix a couple of loose ends in the franchise, and that's one of them. Like because when you see Doctor Strange, you're like, where were the wizards during the Battle of New York? And they kind of show you that they were actually in secret. They were there. They were participating.
Mm-hmm. I love that you could see all those behind the scenes actions that were going on.
I love how she was so reluctant to give him the stone until he said Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Said that this was the only outcome.
Yeah, and then she's like, wait.
He's the best. He's supposed to be the best of us.
Yeah, like he wouldn't have given it to you unless he had a plan.
Oh, and he did one new move. Did you see that? He like grabbed people and like dragged them to the floor.
I must have missed that. There's so much going on. I must have missed that part.
I was looking
I'm ready for some
crazy
good
magic.
Doctor Strange now.
Yeah.
You know the next one's going to be great.
I don't know if you guys interpreted this like the way that I did, but there's a part earlier in the movie after there's the time jump, and Black Widow's talking to Rocket, Captain Marvel. Love her new haircut, by the way.
Oh yeah,
I forget the girl's name, the Wakanda lady. And she's like, there were tremors in the ocean. Like, what did you guys do? She's like, we didn't do anything because they were in the fucking ocean. What do you want me to do? So was I the only one that was like Namor, Atlantis? Maybe
it's possible.
No, I didn't pick that up.
It's possible.
That didn't happen in this movie, but I'm just like, was that a little
nod and a wink?
I think it could have been
because I mean there were those rumors that I talked about a few weeks ago that Namor was going to be in Doctor Strange 2.
There you go.
So that might be that nice little
maybe
feelings. Yeah, I like that. Good observation. I didn't even consider that. I gotcha. I honestly just thought that like sanction of heroes, if you will, were just like trying to keep busy with life. You know what I mean? So just an earthquake was enough to kind of set them off and get excited.
Tonally, it was supposed to be Black Widow's like she wants to be on top of things so much that she's overreaching. She's like, what do you want us to do about that? Like, because she's still everybody for that matter is still kind of cope with what had happened.
The decimation.
It is crazy.
The decimation.
They pulled off depression pretty well.
They killed Thanos like 10 minutes into this movie. By the way,
that really blew my mind.
Yeah, I was like,
whoa,
think
that was going to happen.
What's going to happen now?
Right? You see Hulkbuster burst through the ground and tie him down, and got Thor chops his head off. Finally, he aims for the head.
Can we step back really quick and talk about that Thor reveal?
Oh my god,
that was great.
So
New Asgard.
I like how they did it. This is going back to what I said earlier.
Sure.
I feel like they depowered him drastically.
Yeah.
But they gave him good reason. He got fat and he's out of shape.
Yeah.
He was depressed.
Because he was not as OP as he was in Infinity War. I mean, it was the Thor show.
Right.
In
Yeah.
Infinity War.
It got up there a little bit by the end of the movie, but yeah.
And then
was
he
still,
got very depowered, I feel, in this movie.
Who was it? I think, John, you asked a few episodes ago, I think it was you, who was going to have their Thor moment in this movie. Mm-hmm. And it was Captain America.
I would have to say so.
Yeah. I don't think any of us said Captain America.
And it still used Mjolnir and everything like that. Like, so in a way, it still had to do with Thor, but at the end, it was he wielding
So
it. It was awesome.
that hammer itself is the thing that has lightning? I didn't know
So
that.
no, like Thor is the god of thunder. Like lightning powers are within him, but I think Mjolnir, like you get to channel that, like the power of lightning with the hammer.
Because he's worthy, I guess.
That makes
So
sense.
because
he was doing some thunder shit, and I was like, wait.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
going
was
on?
surprised when I saw that. I was like, wait, he could do that too?
Yeah,
It's
so
like as if
it
he'd been
doesn't
wielding his whole life.
change his power set. It's just when he's wielding the hammer, you get a bit of lightning.
You know
Gotcha.
what part really confused Yvonne and I, and we're still trying to figure it out?
There's a lot of, especially with the time travel stuff. By the way, there's time travel in this.
A lot. With quantum
quantum realm.
and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, that was one of the theories.
Where did his army come from?
So I wondered that too for a second. I was like, wait, okay. So I assumed that on his ship, he brought Thanos and his like little children that they killed in Infinity War. But I asked that same question, and I honestly don't have an answer. I just kind of assumed they pulled those like from this timeline. They were just like, hey, we're from the past or whatever. I'm still Thanos, so you're doing what I say. That's kind of just what I assumed. That's the only way it makes sense to me, because I don't think they would have pulled. They could have pulled the entire army through that portal. It was just his ship.
It was, yeah.
And they didn't all come from that ship?
No.
Necessarily?
No, well, look at how big the army was.
Yeah.
Look at all
True.
the flying elephants that were going on. Whales.
Yeah. So that's what I chalked it up to. I'm just like, oh, he must have brought his children with him, and then they rallied the troops, which is why we didn't see them right away also. It was just Thanos.
Okay.
So
I wonder if there's going to be like a deleted scene that
maybe
explains that. But
I would hope so.
that's a great
And
idea. I
which
didn't even
is-
think about that.
Yeah, which is also the same thing that they kind of did when after Hulk does the snap and brings everybody back. Like, we don't see them for a while, and then the fucking awesome scene where everybody just showed up. Fucking
That was
Super
glorious.
Smash Brothers Ultimate. Everyone is here.
I was seriously
Hey, there's no
wondering-
Goku though.
But in that moment, before you hear Falcon, I really was wondering, like, is Cap going to die right now? Like,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I was ready for it. I was not anticipating a heroic reveal whatsoever.
Yeah.
I thought that was it, and he was just going to go down swinging until the end. But, it was a great reveal. They did. I couldn't imagine
Oh yeah, the
having
way
any
they
other way.
did it, yeah, it was great because they make you feel like there is no hope.
There was,
Yeah.
it was gone. I thought he was going to get killed, and the whole time I was wondering, like, why isn't anyone helping him? Like, he was the only one taking on Thanos, but I forgot Thor was knocked
Everybody
down.
else was kind of occupied.
Iron Man was knocked out.
Yeah, it was just Iron Man, Cap, and Thor that were really there, and they
Yeah.
both got tossed aside for that moment.
Really quickly. It was cool to see, I guess, just the acrobatic brawler fighting style of Captain America, especially wielding Mjolnir and the shield simultaneously, and lightning, I guess you can say as well.
There's a lot of little things that happened in this movie, like the character moments that I think were really smart and really powerful and just really made sense. Like the AJ, you mentioned earlier, after Thor chops off Thanos' head, and he says, "I went for the head." Like I started to think, yeah. That makes perfect. That was the last thing. Like, Thor is probably dwelling on those words for so fucking long for this entire time. I think it was like I forget how much time had passed.
5 years.
5 years.
Well, this was before the jump cut.
2 days. It was
like
only
that.
2 days.
2
They said.
days.
Yeah,
20. No, it was 22.
20-something
22,
days.
28
Was
days.
that
it was
Oh,
22
okay.
days. You're right. It was
22
22 days. So he was probably just dwelling on it, and you even see that earlier when like he's just kind of chilling there. He's not saying anything. He's just thinking about it. So there's. I think people should appreciate that little moment more than more than they probably did.
Well, it goes to show as to why after that he was still depressed, because ultimately it changed nothing.
Yeah,
Like, it goes to show
Exactly.
why he went into
Well,
depression
he freaked out
and
when
let
he heard
himself
the
go.
name Thanos. Remember,
Yeah.
he was gonna start crying. And,
By the
And
way,
they brought
Fortnite was
back-
in the movie for a second. That was funny.
What's his name?
Korg.
Korg, yeah.
So
He's back. He's the guy's talking.
And they were playing Fortnite, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Speaking of which, no, yeah, pretty ridiculous, I got to say. Pretty fun. You mentioned the Thor reveal though. That was super random. I was like, "Whoa!" I did
not see that coming. I was laughing so hard.
I freaking loved that. That was pretty good.
And that he stayed like that the entire. I thought at some point he was going to fly around really quick and just be buff.
Right,
but no.
Right.
I'm glad that they didn't cheese out and do that.
Yeah. They're really committed to that, and the movie works. It works out.
I appreciate that as well. Don't know why my dad's playing music in the background. Sorry if you guys can hear that. He's outside cleaning the yard. He's giving no fucks right now.
Yeah.
All right, nice guy. Anyway, let's move on. All right, so dude, I don't know where else to go with this film. It's all over the place. A lot of time travel. I love that you can kind of see how things went after Loki gets taken down in the first Avengers movie.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool as well. You kind of see what happens.
That kind of goes back to what I said about the Ancient One, how they kind of like retcon a couple of things. Because at the end of Avengers, he has that weird like Bane-looking mask over him, and you're just like, where did that come from? That's a little weird. So in this movie, they kind of show you, it's just a quick little thing, or they show you.
No, doesn't he have the Bane mask right at the very end?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But they don't explain it.
Why?
It's just kind of there, and you're just like, what's that? That's weird.
Do you think that was planned? Like, you think that was a 10-year plan?
I don't know. That feels like it could have just been a quick, easy retcon, honestly.
Maybe.
But then why even have it in Avengers in the first place? If it didn't have I don't know.
And then
clearly they've been planning all these threads for this entire time.
All the throwbacks, because they also had the throwback from Winter Soldier.
They had a few. Which one?
When he was inside the
elevator. Yes.
And he was about to do that whole scene all over again.
I was expecting it. I was like, he's going to kick their ass in the elevator again. This is going to be awesome.
And they were getting all tense, and he goes, Hell Hydra. I was like,
that was even smart. That was even better, I think.
Yeah.
Because it plays with your expectations.
And he's not fucking up the timeline.
Exactly.
True, exactly.
Well,
even though they said that doesn't matter.
So this is a perfect segue into the time travel stuff that confused the shit out of me. So, what the fuck? So I don't even know where to start. So the Ancient One explains that if you take the Infinity Stones out of this timeline, timeline will pretty much fall apart.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, it'll make different timelines.
Yes, exactly. It'll branch out and become others.
Okay.
So this is the whole Dragon Ball Super.
Which is why Bruce Banner said, well, actually, if we put back the stones to where they originally belong, then it'll fix everything. It'll maintain the same timeline.
That plan was to put them back. I assume that plan, maybe now that I think about it, they didn't say it outright. It was to take them and put them back without people even knowing. But there were interactions. Things were changed.
They were interactions.
My assumption was they went to that right moment before they started interacting with everybody.
Maybe so, because we never actually see. Well, I guess we're in spoilers. Captain America, where and how he went about putting them back. You know what I mean? All we know is that he completed the mission and then he got to live a whole life.
Yeah, I thought about that. But then it raises the question, if he stayed there, that still fucks with everything. That means throughout this entire timeline that we've been living through,
he never got to be Captain America. Maybe.
Or like he would, Peggy Carter would have to go on being the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. Steve Rogers would have to live there in secret. He would have to see the Battle of New York and not do anything. Like that kind of, it almost ruins the movie for me, because then it just raises a lot of questions that kind of need to be answered. However, this isn't the movie to answer them in. I understand that 100%. Infinity War raised a lot of questions that got answered in this. Some obvious, some not so obvious. And so maybe they plan to fix that in a future movie. But as of now, they're just... These are one of the threads I'm talking about.
No, yeah, it was kind of weird. Like, even though they were able to tie up certain character endings with a nice bow, it does go out to the detriment of maybe the story not making the most sense, you know? I felt like, especially with Captain America's ending, like, if he got to live that life, then how does everything still end up okay?
Yeah. Okay. So
again, without him fighting in New York.
Here's the other thing that I thought of, because Hulk kind of says this earlier on when he starts to talk about
time travel.
Time travel. So if you go in the past, because they make fun of Back to the Future, which I love that scene, by the way.
They bring up every time travel with Hot Tub Time Machine.
That scene is brilliant because they bring up Hot Tub Time Machine. That scene is brilliant because
I forgot about that.
In a movie where you have time travel, and I say this with every movie that has time travel fucks with the plot a lot. It fucks with logic,
usually to its detriment.
Yeah, and they kind of joke about it right as they start talking about time machine stuff. They're just like, you mean like Back to the Future and all that? You're telling me that's a lie? Like,
they kind telling me Back to the Future was bullshit?
Yeah. They kind of make fun of themselves. They realize just how far out there it is to buy into this premise, so they kind of just like, yeah, well, what are you going to do? But anyway, that's beside the point. The point I was going to bring up was Hulk talks about how going into the past doesn't change your future.
Yes.
It creates an alternate timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, does that mean Captain America lived out his life in an alternate timeline?
But then how did he end up back into the original timeline?
I guess he knew that they're going to meet up again.
The device that they make, they say that it has something that I forget exactly the phrasing that they do, but they say that you're able to pinpoint like your it's like basically a time and space GPS. So I'm assuming that means he would be able to bring him back to this time. That's how you can bring somebody back, because you know where he is, even if he's in a different timeline at a different universe, then he could still bring him back to this timeline.
That makes sense.
I mean, because that's the same logic as to how they would bring the others back in the first place. You're going back in time. Things have changed. You're already in an alternate timeline. So, I mean, it makes sense in the context of this theory, anyway.
It definitely.
I thought there was just two Captain Americas living at one time. Like one was frozen and he was getting old, and he watched himself, do shit in New York and whatnot on TV.
That's true. It is that same version that we got to know Captain America of this whole time. He still did the same deeds, but then also got the chance to go back in time. And like you said, he got to see his own past self going to the ice while he got to actually live the life.
By the
he
way,
always wanted.
I really loved how they ended.
That does make sense.
That was
America's
the scene
arc.
that made me fucking cry.
Oh, really?
I
man.
teared up like a bitch.
Damn.
Once it ended, I told Yvonne, do I need to fix my mascara? Because that got to me. He finally got it what he wanted.
Yeah.
After 10 years, carrying the picture of her. And they even they even tease it in that movie that he still hasn't let go.
Yeah,
right?
He's like, where did you get that locket?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
really
it was really nice. I mean, we all know the big death, which was touching, but it was whatever. I felt like this was more like
it was touching.
Really,
I didn't feel it as much as I did the Captain America thing for sure. I did still feel something, but it wasn't as bad. Or at least the death itself, even though I think it was executed and shot very well.
Mm-hmm.
I think I actually got a little emotional after when you started to see his funeral and his hologram and like saying goodbye to his daughter and stuff.
That was one of those things where
yeah, exactly. I started to choke up a bit.
When Happy's talking about buying her cheeseburgers and
all
and then I was like, oh, that's a throwback to the
I thought he was going to say Burger King, because I think he says he wants a Burger King.
I think.
I forgot about that.
He says cheeseburger, but later on you see a Burger King wrapper.
Oh, is that
that's
what it is?
Yeah.
Nice, okay.
God, can you believe we saw that movie together, Peter? Fucking 11
years ago, yep.
That's insane.
Joshua was like that big, my little brher. Oh my God.
And now he's as big as a moose.
Yeah, he is.
Christ, he's bigger than all of us.
Yes, he is. He'll bench press us easy.
Yeah.
But goddamn, yeah, dude, it's crazy to think how all that went down. But I would have to say Iron Man's death really did kind of shock me, though. I mean, the moment though when Doctor Strange reveals to him, like, if I were to tell you what's going to happen, it wouldn't happen. And
I chalked that up to
that's
mean,
what freaked me out.
I chalked that up to mean like he just meant like when you know too much about your own future,
Then
like
you
things are
might
going to be
change it.
different.
Right. Yeah.
So it wasn't until later on where he gives him the look that
Yeah,
I realized
the
like,
look.
He gave him the one. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, I
This
was
is the
like,
one
this
time.
is what he meant.
This is
like
the one.
because if he told him, then he might not do it, and then it was the whole
Mm-hmm. But I respected the fact that Tony Stark knew what he had to do, and he did it.
Yeah.
He did what he had to
his
to make it
dad
work.
said that to him early in the movie too. He said,
my girlfriend pointed that out. I
Yeah,
didn't catch it the first time.
He said I put the greater good over my personal gain. Or
and then he
something.
also says something. He was just
About his
like,
kid?
my son isn't even, or my child isn't even born, but I already know I would do anything for
so
him.
he's making
Yeah.
sure that his daughter
Yeah.
will be fine.
Yeah, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Which was pretty intense, though. But it makes me wonder, so she was already alive then when he was alive? Was that the case?
Wait, who? What?
What?
His daughter. Like, was she already a toddler at that point? Or was this like years later when
We
the
saw
jump
her.
cut
What
at
do
the funeral?
What are you talking about? We saw the child.
Well, yeah, but that was in the alternate. Oh, I'm sorry. I
No.
was thinking. Sorry.
Timeline is fucking ancient.
Yeah, the timeline fucked me up hard. My bad. My bad. I forgot that was still the. God damn, that's so weird.
I wouldn't need to say this. I think Peter might get this joke a little bit more, but when I saw Robert Downey Jr. and all his gray hair, I thought of Ted and all his gray hair, and I thought he can totally pull it off. Tony Stark can definitely pull off the gray.
Oh,
yeah, definitely.
He's a zaddy.
He even had the
sure.
same kind of haircut. I'm a
Fair enough.
Okay,
but,
so speaking of Tony Stark's sacrifice, I want to talk about Thanos for a second.
Sure.
Somehow they managed to... First of all, the way they brought him back was totally unexpected.
Yeah. I didn't think that was going to happen.
And they somehow managed to make him more menacing. Yet he's a very calm villain. He's very smart. He's not a raving lunatic.
No.
But they make him more villainous when he explains to them, like, I see my mistake now.
Yeah.
Life saw what I did.
And they wanted to change things. They couldn't move past it. So I now see that I have to start from the very beginning. I need to wipe out everyone. People can't know what I've done, otherwise they won't be able to let go.
Exactly.
And so God, it's so good.
And he says finally near the end that I'm going to enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
And I was like, you son of a bitch.
He's never done anything out of vengeance. But he's like, but your planet.
I'm gonna enjoy what I'm gonna do to it.
Yeah,
and
I was
that's
like,
right before his army shows up too. Like,
what a
oh
dickhole.
God, it's so good.
That's all I could think of.
And the whole thing, like, it shows just how smart he is, because you see him just there leaning, kneeling, like he's thinking about this whole thing. Like, he's not like, oh, they killed me, like revenge. He's just like, how do I fix this problem?
Yeah.
God, it's so good.
Yeah, he's
such a well-written villain.
It's. I think if anything, it's unfortunate we don't get as nearly as much of him. I feel like as we did in Infinity War.
Sure,
but I think it wasn't super necessary because he wasn't necessary to the heroes correcting everything.
Right.
But at the same time, I feel like maybe we lost out on some of that charisma that he still has. Though the moments that we do get with Thanos, except for maybe the very beginning when they chop his head off, I feel like every scene he was in from there was really good, though.
How he saw himself get his head chopped off,
and
he's like, that's destiny for you.
Yeah, he was still composed.
Oh my God. Because he did what he needed to do.
Yep.
He was
totally content. He was ready. He was waiting for it.
He fulfilled his destiny, but at the cost of his life. But that's all he really cared about. He wasn't even. It's not even that he's so self-righteous or anything like that. He just feels like he did what he had to do, and that's all that it takes, despite what maybe it happens to him from there. Despite the consequences, I guess. He still feels like his decision is the best. Maybe he is self-righteous, but at the end of the day, he's not. I guess he's not afraid of realizing that it may cost his life at the end of the day. I don't know.
Yeah.
I still liked Thanos a lot in this movie. I would have liked a little bit more, but still pretty great. I have to say. I don't know. What'd you guys think of the Pepper Potts reveal?
Oh, with her in the suit?
I thought that was pretty cool.
I mean, I saw it coming.
People
They foreshadowed it earlier.
And she took an Instagram picture of her wearing it.
That's true. I forgot about that. That's a good point. Yeah. I
At that point in the
It.
movie,
Cool
I forgot
night.
about it, so it was cool to see her in a suit again.
We get
there was
girl
a
power.
shot where her and Tony like start shooting lasers back to back, which I thought was pretty awesome.
I loved the projectiles she had and like the little nanobots that were kind of following her shooing lasers and shit. That was really cool. The Stark tech is just always upgrading every movie.
There's Tony Stark is still very
I'll be right back. I gotta ask my dad to turn down that music. It's driving me crazy.
You want to take a cut for a second?
Yeah, let's definitely take a cut. Hold that thought though.
So, Tony Stark was still very charming and funny, despite the fact that he was even after the jump cut. By the way, I just thought about this now. That scene when Tony Stark comes back and he has his freak out. He has his freak out and he's yelling at Cap. Like, that's a very tense moment that I think was pulled off spectacularly.
Very much so.
And speaking of other moments that were pulled off spectacularly, we haven't even touched on yet. Black Widow is really good. Like, it felt like for this entire movie, she was like, I just want to remind you guys I have an Oscar. Like,
she was a great actress.
It felt a lot like
film.
that. It's like, so,
great actor.
You know, just think about that, Hemsworth, even though you're getting more screen time than your fat.
And we know what happened to her
bodysuit.
for fucking speaking up.
Yeah.
Oh no! Flexing that power. Oh, now that you bring her up, it makes me sad that she wasn't part of the girl power fight at the end of the movie.
Really threw me off.
I loved that girl power part.
Yeah, that was pretty sick.
I'm sure there's people bitching about it. It'd be like, social justice warrior, blah, blah, blah. I thought it was great.
It was fun.
Think about it this way. There's a moment where you see Thor, Captain America, and Iron Man going up against Thanos, and nobody gives a shit. Everybody's like, yeah, that's awesome.
Exactly.
But you see an all-girl moment, and everybody's like, Shut the fuck up. It's the same thing.
Right.
The fact that you noticed it and had that reaction just means you're an asshole.
Makes you a dickbag, yeah.
Yeah.
But I will say, maybe to the film's discredit slightly, even though I thought that was a badass scene, I guess realistically speaking, it's a comic book movie, but realistically speaking, how would they really be able to organize and get all the girls together while this gigantic fight is going on?
Yeah.
They have time to get together real quick for one grand charge.
Pose girl.
Right? Yeah, pose.
But that was cool. Like, I love how first you see like 2 or 3 of them, and then all of a sudden the camera keeps panning, and you see all of them,
more.
and you're like, oh
and then
my
there's people
god!
I kind of forgot about. I'm like, oh yeah, Wasp, you're there too,
Right?
Like,
Yeah, it was a sick reveal and a sick fight when they actually go and dive into the battle. It was awesome. It was very well pulled off, but it was sad to not see Scarlet there. Or I'm sorry, I guess
in that
Black
same
Widow.
scene when they're playing like Gauntlet Hot Potato. I also like that
was fun.
Black Panther has it for a second, and I was in the comic books. He wields it also, so I thought for a second like, oh shit, is he gonna put it on? That'd be fucking cool. I think it's better the way it played out, but I thought that was a little tease, a little nod to the comics.
Oh, I would not doubt at all. I love his agility throughout it and his execution of his suit's power and all that.
Right.
That was really fun.
How dope was Hawkeye?
Hawkeye was
Or
pretty
Ronin?
dope in this.
Ronin. Yeah, it was pretty. He was pretty badass.
Fucking sick. That one scene where he's fighting the Japanese dude, it went full John Wick for a second.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was anime all up the ass. I loved it. That was really. It was super dramatic and everything like that. The mob boss that he's going after was like super crazy. I loved it. Yeah.
Oh, so
it was fun.
You brought this up earlier, but I forgot to. So circle back to that. This movie just starts.
Yeah, it just starts.
They don't even do like the intro, like Marvel, like flip pagey thing. Like some people in my theater, I think, thought it was still a trailer.
Yeah, I almost thought it was.
Yeah, and it was great.
It was great.
It sets the tone immediately. Similar to how Infinity War does when like they show the comic book flippy pagey thing, the Marvel logo in Infinity War, but there's no music over it. You hear like the comms, like the Asgardians like trying to like reacting to Thanos getting their shit pushing their shit in.
Right, like Mayday.
Yeah. And it does a similar thing in that way, and it's great, and it was
an emotional start.
It was emotional.
It's
People in my theater, you hear like the gasps, you hear the like awe, and like I had a reaction to it stronger than I thought I would because he's Hawkeye isn't too much of a big player in these movies.
No.
Yeah.
But when he is,
when you
he's
see
great.
his when you know what happened and you see like his confusion and you start to realize like, oh fuck, how you kind of put yourself in his shoes for a second and you're like,
sure.
God, that must be fucking awful. Like, how do you?
I forgot
His
that's how
kids
the
are
movie
taken from
started.
his wife.
That's
Yeah.
exactly how the movie started. It shows you like a nice, loving family, and he's having a great time with his daughter. And then he turns around and she's gone. He turns around and the other family's gone. It's like, oh shit.
I love how he didn't really understand what was happening.
Exactly.
He's calling out to them, like doing like maybe like their whistle that he does to them, and nothing. It was like Jesus Christ. It was a good idea of giving us that level of emotion, and then it relating to everyone else that's dealing with that after the snap as well.
Right.
That post snap, and like how everyone else dealt with something very similar, if not the exact same thing.
Right.
Of just all of a sudden their family and their loved ones are gone. Yeah, it was crazy. I love how was it Joe Russo was in that like
I was gonna
that men's talking.
I didn't realize that.
I thought I wasn't sure if it was him, but I was just like, I think that's one of the Russo brothers.
Yeah, it was definitely him. Yeah, it was sitting next to Cap and talking about he went on a date with this guy, and they started talking about how much they miss the Yankees, and then they just both started crying at certain points of the date.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy crap! Like it was pretty cool to see that. That guy's a pretty good actor.
That whole
I liked him a
scene
lot.
was really good, though.
Yeah.
Captain America talks about moving on, and
Yeah, but you could also tell like at the back, like inside, he is still Captain America, and he is strong and he's optimistic no matter what. But also, I don't know if he fully believes in what he's telling them either. Like it just seemed like that bleak of a situation.
Yeah.
It wasn't until he meets up with Black Widow later where it's like, okay, yeah, he still has some life in him, and he's not completely dead inside.
Right.
I guess that is. But yeah, I don't know. It was pretty cool. I don't know. I like that a lot.
So the scene where Black Widow dies and her and Hawkeye are fighting over who's going to do it.
Death. Yeah.
I thought that was great because this is another moment where I thought the movie was going to start to lose me, where I was like, oh.
Pardon that little jump cut, everybody listening. The computer just had a little wonkiness going on.
Bit of a technical issue,
All right.
but we're back.
Move on,
I'm
Peter.
ready.
So
Okay,
the
we're going
Black
into it.
Widow / potential Hawkeye sacrifice.
Yeah, I love how they were fighting each other to make that sacrifice. Like I thought it was great, and then there were moments where even the it's shot to make you think like, oh, this is it. That Hawkeye's going to do the thing, and then Black Widow at the last minute like stops him. They really go back and forth for a little while.
Yeah,
and I loved it.
I like I was trying to say earlier before we had the technical issues. I thought like after maybe the second trip that was going to be it.
Yeah,
but no,
too.
like they keep finding a way to one up each other to kill themselves.
To kill each other.
Yeah.
It was really well
was
done,
great.
though. Yeah, I like that scene more than I thought I was going to as well.
I didn't think she was going to die. I thought it was going to be Hawkeye.
I thought
Yeah,
they
me
were just
too.
going to bring them back somehow, but I guess it's like
they said it in
Red
the
Skull
previous
says.
movie, a soul for a soul.
Yeah, which it sucks though because even it is sad that Black Widow's now gone. But at the same time, we still get Gamora back due to time travel. I
was
going to
say there are ways to bring her back,
But this is a different Gamora, which
it is.
I'm assuming we're
different
leaving
Gamora, yeah.
open. We'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah, sure.
Well, I guess we could talk about it.
Now?
These are some of the problems that time travel kind of brings up. Is that other Gamora is very dead, and so we have past Gamora now
roaming around in
her future, our present.
Knows nothing of Peter Quill,
which is their
or
past.
the Guardians.
Yeah. I love how, by the way, Nebula, like she needs him, and then Nebula's like, it was either this or a tree.
So I have
Him really?
Yeah.
So they're obviously leaving it open for a next Guardians of the Galaxy.
As Guardians
As
of the
Guardians
Galaxy.
of the Galaxy.
What happened?
As Guardians of the Galaxy.
I love when Thor says that. That was
Yeah.
awesome.
Did he say that?
Yeah,
he
he's like,
says it.
as Guardians of the Galaxy.
Which was a great scene. Of course, you're the guy.
Yeah, everybody knows that.
And then he gives him the look.
Yeah.
That look was priceless.
But before that
Oh,
scene,
yeah.
like right before Thor walks in, he's already looking for past Gamora.
Yes.
So you know the next movie is going to be along the lines of him
It's
trying
like a
to
search
win
for
it.
Spock situation.
But I wonder if Thor is going to be in it. Oh my god!
I think
That's
he'll have to
like
be
that.
now.
That
Yeah.
wasn't already a great cast before Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
Right.
But now he's in it. That is incredible.
We got a huge taste of it in Infinity War, so for them to go back to that again, I'm ready
And
because it
this-
was fun. But now we get to see them team up.
This is something that they were talking about wanting to do after this saga was starting to bring characters together and doing random stories. So hopefully this
I
is the
think
start.
that's the way to
Heck
do
yeah.
it. Like, so I don't think you need solo movies anymore. I think you like team up movies are more the way to go. Ragnarok is a lot.
Put Thor in everything.
Perfect
please.
example.
Put him in Dumbo. That's the way to make it funny.
Ride elephant.
Put him up.
Yes.
Make him the genie.
But team ups do sound fun. They have all these characters from 11 years.
Yeah.
Why not utilize them together? I mean, I think Doctor Strange could benefit just potentially as his own solo movie. That's fine. But I would love to see them bring in other characters as well for the ride. Why not?
Right.
Yeah, I'd be totally fine with that.
Now that there's time travel and quantum and different dimensions, it's so easy to just change things and bring in X-Men characters without
Totally.
even doing anything crazy.
I saw a theory. You could do that. That is very much an easy way to do it. But I saw a theory that said because Hulk brought people back with a snap with the Iron Man gauntlet, and he even mentions gamma radiation right beforehand.
That he was meant for it.
Yeah. So you think maybe they can kind of use that to introduce mutants, like maybe bringing people back with the snap, with Hulk doing the snap, maybe like implanted some sort of mutation in people.
Yeah,
I was thinking
some
more
sort of
so-
gamma rays mutates them.
They say it at the beginning of the movie. Rocket Raccoon did after the snap, there was this like cosmic energy, and Earth was like the main source of it.
Right.
I thought maybe that could have been what could have
Well, it's
mutated
the same.
people.
It's pretty much the same theory. Yeah.
Same idea,
Yeah.
yeah.
Basically, but yeah, I mean, now at least they're kind of laying down a foundation for potential possibilities as to how and when the X-Men come to be in these films. I will say, even though I figured it was a long shot, I half expected the final battle for them somehow interdimensionally be able to bring in the X-Men for the final fight, but that never happened.
Nah.
But I was anticipating it, like in the back of my mind, like, is that why they don't want us to spoil Endgame? Is that why they keep harping on it? Because we're going to get something out of left field that no one ever saw coming. But then obviously it didn't happen.
quite a few
But
things.
it didn't need to happen though at all for the movie or the ending or that final battle.
It wouldn't make sense for
Be
this
great.
movie. Well,
True.
first, it would feel too shoehorned in for one.
True,
And then two,
true.
this movie is very much feels like the culmination of 10 years of all the movies that they've made so far. So to introduce those characters now would not only do this movie and this franchise injustice, it would also do those characters a big injustice.
It would rob them of their glory
Yeah.
points. I would say. Yeah, that's true.
So I think it's a smart move to not even bother.
Probably
trying to
too
put
much
them
fan
in.
service, if you will.
Yeah.
If there's such a thing. This movie was all about fan service in a way.
Yeah.
But done classily.
Yeah,
like,
done
very
in a
classy
way that is
It was
very
great.
smart.
It was
they do a lot of throwbacks to like previous movies. They go back to the Avengers. There's that moment where the Hulk's all embarrassed that he's all hulking out, and he's like,
Yeah, oh, that's right.
I love that scene.
That
That scene made me that scene was so good.
and he like lazily throws like a car.
Time to smash stuff. Yeah. I like that you could see the dichotomy of how I guess the character has actually progressed with his rage and all that. But I don't know if that rawr scene was very necessary, but it was still fun to see,
Necessary?
I guess.
No.
Amazing.
But also in a way very necessary.
Great joke, yes, maybe.
Yes.
True that. How did you guys feel about the funeral of Tony Stark?
I thought one of the reasons why I think it got to me so hard was because when you see everybody there and you start to see characters that I even forgot about. Sub Sandwich Kid is there from Iron Man 3.
That's right.
For a second, I was like, "Who the fuck is this guy?"
Yeah,
like I recognized
exactly
everybody else but him, and then I was like, "Oh, that has to be the Iron Man
Sub
3
Sandwich
kid."
I didn't know until Sin brought it up because I was like, "Yeah, I was still thinking about who the hell was that
Really?
kid?" Yeah, it didn't occur to me. I only saw the movie once.
It was
I don't
nice that
remember
they brought him in because he was a big part of Iron Man 3.
Yeah,
so.
for better or worse,
The buddy cop,
I liked
yeah,
it.
film,
I thought it was fun.
True
I
that.
think Iron Man 2's worse.
I thought for like the first for the first few minutes of that scene, the whole funeral scene, I was like, are we just forgetting if that Black Widow died as well? Like, where's her tribute? But then they do talk about her and everything, so that was nice that they still brought her up. But I was like, yeah, this is more about Tony than anything. Like, they even had, like, they put in the water, like, his Tony Stark has a heart.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah,
that was
what
pretty
so
hard to
many
see.
callbacks, so many things. I'm just like, God, it's so good.
Iron Man told Iron Man that he was going to go inside of him.
Yeah.
I don't know. Nobody else
What?
picked up on that. That
I
made me
didn't.
laugh. When
I
he's
didn't
about
get
to
that
go
either.
inside of him, he said, I'm about to go inside you.
Yeah, that's right. You're right.
So, yeah, I laughed about that. I'm sorry.
We didn't get the butt explosion scene that everyone anticipated. But
That's what I
okay
thought of
too.
right away. I mean, he still technically went inside somebody.
Yeah, he still made it happen one way or
I'm about to
another.
go inside you right now. As far as I'm concerned, that's America's ass.
Yeah.
Paul Rudd is so great.
That is American.
He's so good.
We have great scenes from everyone. We talked about it last episode. If you have not listened to last episode 29 of this podcast, we make a top 5 list of our man crushes. And we mentioned then bearded Captain America, Chris Evans, is hottest Chris Evans. But I gotta say, when he's sitting down at that scene with Black Widow when they first get together in this film, he looked pretty damn handsome in this film.
Like a pretty handsome man.
I
will agree.
Pretty clean shaven, but he still looked great. Still looked very great, gotta say. But the beard, though.
Yeah,
At the
bring
end of
back
the
the
day.
beard.
Paul Rudd should have been on that list, by the way.
Oh, that's so true.
See, the thing
Charming
about Paul
motherfucker.
Rudd, he's a very charming motherfucker. I think he's very charming and he's very handsome.
Yeah, he is.
But he's I wouldn't put him in my top 5.
Okay.
I think,
But I do think he.
You sure you wouldn't want to start a family with him?
I didn't
You
say-
wouldn't
I
want to
didn't
raise
say
kids
that.
with him?
I didn't say that. I did not say that. Don't put words in my mouth, John.
you would bear the child.
Just say-
for
I mean,
him.
that isn't how qualified to make top 5.
I mean, it was the top 5 sexiest
But
men or whatever we
that
did.
people find that sexy.
I think he's pretty sexy.
I don't. He's pretty.
Why didn't we think of him?
He's looked the same for like 20 years.
That's
Which is
great.
adds to his gorgeousness.
Yeah,
His
he
eyes
looks
are
exactly the
piercing.
same.
I trust him and I love him at the same time, but I'm also a little afraid of him breaking my heart. That's how I
And
feel
he would
about
do
it.
it so nicely.
Oh yeah, he'd be like,
Oh, my
hey
God.
man, just things happen sometimes.
Just been super busy.
That's exactly how it would go down. He'd make you feel better about it. Like, yeah, you know what, you're right. Let's move on.
It's
but
okay.
you'll always have my heart.
Yep.
He's like, yeah.
He's in my top 5.
Yeah, he squeaked his way in there somehow. You're right. He Ant-Man his way
all
in.
that
Now he
charm.
peers. Yeah.
Yep.
Giant Man was awesome in this movie too. That was a really tight scene where he punches one of those flying whales in the
Hank Pym
face.
was there, right? As a giant man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He appears and that's when he punches the
Because there was
thingy
2
in the
giant
face.
men.
It was sick. Oh.
In this.
That's
movie?
what I'm
Wait,
saying.
really?
What?
Yeah.
What are you
I didn't
talking
notice that. 2?
Yeah, well, because there was a scene where Paul Rudd and the girl, I don't remember her name, they're in the van trying to start up the time machine. During the battle.
Yeah, yeah.
So when that's happening, it cuts into a different fighting scene, and Giant Man is there.
Oh shit!
So that leads me to believe
Whoa.
it's the old guy. It's Hank, right? Hank Pym is his name.
Oh, Hank Pym. Oh.
I didn't.
I think he's
about
even
that.
wearing the old school Ant-Man
Whoa.
costume.
I didn't notice that. You might
That's
be right.
possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, good observation.
Because
I didn't consider that at all.
At first, I thought they fucked up. Like I just thought it
That's
was.
what I just thought right now.
But then I
They
was
may
thinking
have,
about
though.
it. Why wouldn't he join in. Everybody else is joining in.
And you're literally fighting for the universe at this point. So yeah, why not?
So I have a feeling that was him.
That would make sense.
It's possible.
If you guys watch it again,
it's possible.
I'll look out for that
when they're in the van.
Nice. Okay, so he and Evangeline Lilly or Wasp.
Yeah, Wasp.
Okay, gotcha. Good to mention. All right, but there was something else I wanted to bring up, and I think I had to do something with the final. If you guys have anything specific, go ahead. Where was I going with this though?
I did feel like Thor. I mean, not Thor. Thanos was a little depowered.
Yeah,
but I came to the conclusion that he's from 2012, so he's 6 years weaker than he is from current Thanos.
Fair.
I mean,
he was still a badass.
He's pretty formidable, even without the gauntlet. He defeats Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man.
Yeah.
I still feel like he was just way more.
Because the only
other time we've seen him here, he had at least one Power Stone at all times.
When he was fighting the Hulk, I don't think he was using
Power Stone on him, but it didn't show the Flash.
He didn't use the Power Stone,
and he made Hulk like a bitch, like nothing. He made Thor look like a bitch, like nothing at all. He just handled him.
Right.
That is one
and
thing
in this one, they're kind of like holding him down. I get that he's still winning, but he convincingly wins in Infinity War, and I don't think he's using the gauntlet.
Yeah,
he's fucking these guys up.
I think you also got to take into account who he's fighting. The Hulk's a brawler. He's used to being the strongest thing around, and he can just toss people however he wants. Like he's not thinking smart. He's not fighting
careless.
smart.
Right.
So, and that you can kind of see that's one of the ways he defeats Thanos is he kind of outsmarts him a little bit. He not only he overpowers him as well with like the joint manipulation that he does with his hands, and then he headbutts him, and he's like dodging his moves. Like he's actually going toe to toe with him.
Okay.
And the Hulk just doesn't know how to handle it.
Yeah. Like he's hitting him in pressure points, like you said, his joints as well.
With whereas with Captain America and like they're all a lot smarter than that
and skilled fighters.
But he still handles them, and that's what I'm trying to say is in Infinity War they just posed no threat to him whatsoever. Even when he wasn't using the
Iron
glove.
Man and Doctor Strange.
That's when it was like 7
that's
against
true,
them,
a little
definitely.
bit. But
Well,
even
that's
all
what I
the
mean.
strength
And
that could
then
Doctor
knock him
Strange
down.
is fucking OP too.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying. I'm just saying I feel like this one was just a little depowered because he was from 2012 and
It's
2018.
Perhaps.
It's possible that was part of it, but I felt
then
the
what the
same
fuck
way.
happened to that-
I felt he was depowered, yeah.
What happened to that dope ass sword? Why didn't he have it in Infinity?
Yeah. Maybe
I know,
did
right?
it break sometime between then and now?
Well, I
I
mean-
fucked up the shield.
I mean, he had the gauntlet
Right.
at that time. He does
Did he? I
that's
guess
his
he didn't
weapon.
need it,
Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
It was
You're
a tight weapon, though. I loved it, but I was like, yo, this thing is beating up this vibranium shield right now? Like, what the hell?
You know,
Yeah.
one frustration this movie brought to me that I never realized I had until
That's
this
straight
movie.
out of the comics, by the way. Thanos breaking Cap's
Oh, really?
shield. Yeah.
I
Jesus
didn't know
Christ.
that. Crazy. With the same weapon?
Not with the same weapon.
But he breaks it.
But he does break it. Yeah.
Gotcha.
How
Did he use the
powerful
bubbles?
is Scarlet Witch?
Yeah, she
Yeah.
almost killed him.
Yeah.
She almost had him. Like, that was sick.
Like they make it seem like Brie Larson is the strongest Captain Marvel, but I feel like Scarlet Witch might.
In the comic book, Scarlet Witch is stupid
But she's
powerful.
a mutant. She like wipes out half the mutants.
Yeah.
doesn't she?
Yeah.
What's her power? She can manipulate.
That's
matter
everyone's
don't
question for
remember.
his movies.
Reality?
I don't remember. Like,
Yeah.
because it's kind of vague, not vague, but they kind of change what her power is in different comic book runs.
I see.
Like, originally, she wouldn't have been able to do the No More Mutants in the culmination of the House of M, but she did, and it's a whole thing. Anyway, we're talking about Endgame.
No, I love that
But
fight,
that's what I'm
though,
saying.
when
She's so
taking him on.
powerful, and
Yeah.
it frustrates me because we don't actually know her. Because whenever she's on the screen, she's usually getting her ass kicked until now, where she's actually like fucking shit up.
She was great in Infinity
Well,
War. She was great in
In
this
Age of
one.
Ultron, did she do anything like amazing? I don't even remember that movie.
Well, there's the final scene where all of, like the bots are flying at them and everything like that.
She only
and
really
she's
has
fending them
two
off.
action beats in that movie. There's the beginning where she, blows up or she contains Crossbones when he tries to kill himself, and blows up the thing. And then there's the airport scene. Those are the only two real action beats that she has. And in the action scene, you can argue the airport scene rather. She's not trying to kill them, so
That's true.
She's kind of depowering herself.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Also, she's fucking angry. The last thing you gotta remember, like time for the people who were snapped, time didn't pass for them.
Oh,
so she
yeah.
got brought back right in her perspective. She got brought back right after Vision got killed.
Like, right in
so
front
she, which also makes sense as to why she's super pissed.
Ready to kill this
She's
motherfucker.
ready. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That
I
and that
totally
was
forgot
sick. I'm
about
glad
that,
that she
yeah.
got to have her vengeance moment for a second.
I thought
there.
she was gonna rip off a limb.
I was ready
hoping
to
she
see
that
was.
too.
Yeah.
Right? It was so cool to see, but then he fucking fires at the ground. But then you get the guns aiming to the sky, and immediately I'm like, it's her. And then that was pretty sick to see her rickshaw.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to see her kick more Thano ass, but I did like the scene. Is it where like he headbutts her, but then like she like slams him back or something like that?
No, she stands still, like it didn't affect her at all.
That's fucking sick.
Yeah,
that was pretty awesome. But I thought it was also pretty cool. Like he grabs the Power Stone and just smashes her, and you don't see her again until the funeral of Tony
that was
Stark
pretty smart
either.
too. Again, he's so smart.
It was smart. Yeah, he was desperate, but he knew what he had to do, and he did it. And it was enough to defeat her. Like that was kind of crazy. Like she was kind of down and out after that. But it was kind of cool to see her come in. I liked her scene, flies through the warship and ultimately destroys any chance of them ever going home. That was kind of cool. I like the Captain Marvel moment. I wish I could have used a little bit more of it though.
She was in and out.
She was
very
hardly
quickly
in this movie.
Yeah, she really
wasn't expected.
Yeah, I thought she was going to be the one to ultimately make him submit.
Well,
but
you
that
can
wasn't
see
the case.
how like she is the strongest hero there is.
Oh yeah.
So you can see why they didn't really.
I
put
also
her there.
think that kind of like this ties into everything. I also think that thread was left in there for future movies. Like it's going to be a reason. Like, well, why isn't Captain Marvel just handle these guys? Like she's off. They really plant that seed that she's got a lot of things to do.
Yeah.
This is the only planet that has the Avengers. Like she's off doing shit. It's kind of like the Superman problem or the Goku problem. It's like when you have these characters that could fix all of your problems, you got to think of a way to keep them away from the conflict.
Right. That's a good point.
Goku has a heart condition. He can't fight right now. Sorry.
That was so great.
Yeah.
That saga was so good.
Superman's dead, so
that superhero's okay.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that's what it reminds me of. It's just they have to write her out of the story, otherwise she would be able to handle a lot of these problems that they're coming across.
Exactly. I mean, it still goes to show that with the stones, Thanos was able to easily rival her, but at the same time, without them, she was pretty amazing to see handle him. Yeah. God. Anything else you guys want to touch on with this one?
I'm sure I'm going to think of something after we stop recording.
We might have to have like a housekeeping episode where we kind of re-update our feelings on Endgame.
Yeah.
I need to see it at least
I'm really
one more
glad
time.
I got to see it on Friday too, 2 days before we're recording this, because honestly, for like a whole 24 hours, I was still like super emotional about it. I was still getting choked up thinking about moments and whatnot.
It made me sad that we are not going to probably have Tony Stark anymore.
I came into that realization hit me after.
Yeah, it's like damn.
Captain America's not going to be there. I mean, a phony one.
Or will he?
Right?
Will he though? Because in the comic books, leading up, I think it's after Civil War 2, which is not the good Civil War, by the way. Don't read that comic book run. Read the first one. I believe it's at the culmination of that he actually dies, but he does have like a hologram self. He has a hologram Tony Stark. He kind of lives on as a hologram.
Tony Stark?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And they kind of hint at that a little bit in this when they see his hologram saying goodbye to everybody and like, I love you 3000.
Oh, that was touching too. God damn it.
Yeah. So maybe we can see him come back. Maybe like as more of a mentor type role.
Maybe so, yeah. I guess more holograms to like maybe teach Peter and stuff
I mean,
like that.
at this point, I'm sure Disney has a 3D rendering of his likeness, so he doesn't even have to show up. Maybe do a couple voiceovers or get a sound alike, and then boom, Tony Stark lives on.
Right. Speaking of 3D rendering, I liked young Michael Douglas in this movie. He looked pretty
good.
He looked really good. The quick moment he was in there, he looked groovy as hell.
Did they DH Stan Lee?
I don't think they did.
Or was he wearing...
I think he was still an old man, Stanley.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
He did kind of have like the style, the facial hair and all that he did back in the 70s.
That's true.
Cool.
That's a fair point, yeah. At least they made.
What did he say? Like
peace,
not war, or something like that.
Yeah, peace, not war, or something like that to the military base. I loved the scene also with Tony Stark and his dad. That was really cool.
That was
as well.
Really great scene.
That was pretty touching, and it was super funny. And like, I was also nervous at the same time. Like, oh shit, is he gonna get busted? Oh no, they actually are liking each other. They're like building a rapport.
The way that they close out some of these story arcs are just brilliant. They give him closure with his father. It helps propel him to make that decision later on when he makes the sacrifice. Like,
Steve Rogers got his happiness.
Yeah,
he got to live his life.
Yeah, he actually got to live. Yeah, he got to live the
like
life
he said,
that Tony
I finally
always
did
told
that.
him about.
Tony said.
Sorry, yeah.
So good. Okay, so here's something I just remembered. I've been wanting to bring up this whole time.
Sure.
So, all these TV shows that have been announced for TV, Disney Plus. So we have Captain Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yep.
And we now know that Falcon's going to be Captain America.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of which, I was not expecting. Both of those characters, Bucky Barnes and
Falcon?
Sam Wilson, both become Captain America at different points in the comic book. So it had to be one of the two. But I honestly am surprised that it ended up being Falcon. I really thought it was going to be Bucky.
Right.
I think because Bucky has too many problems.
Yeah, he's got to work some shit out.
Just enough of a jerk that you want to change.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy that it played out the way that it did. I just wasn't expected.
Scene. It was a really cool scene.
And like you even see him, he wasn't
start
expecting
with them
it.
walking away. That's my shield, motherfucker.
Yeah,
no, that's true. I even like how he says it feels like it's somebody else's.
Yeah,
but he's like, no, don't worry about it. Like
nope, it's yours.
Yeah,
it's not someone else's.
It was a perfect passing of the torch moment.
Yeah,
and I realized it as soon as before the camera actually hit old Captain America. I was like, oh my god, that's what he did. That's what he fucking did. And sure enough, there he is, all old and. It was a hard scene to watch. But
Here's the other thing.
It was beautiful.
That I thought.
Oh.
Excuse me. I'm not getting choked up. There was just something in my throat.
That's getting choked up.
I would not be shy about
movie.
admitting if I'm getting choked up. It seems like Bucky knew. He either knew, like either Captain America told him, or he just knew because they're best friends.
Yeah.
Because he says right before Steve Rogers goes back in time, Bucky says, "I'm going to miss you." And then Hulk's like, he's only going to be gone for 5 seconds. And then also Bucky's the one that knows to look at the bench over there. Like, and he doesn't say anything. He's just like, so.
And they are the best of friends.
Yeah.
He's so gay for him. When they were having the fight scene and President Captain America was getting his ass kicked, he's like, Bucky's alive. He's like, erection.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, God, I can't control myself.
He's so gay for him.
For each other, I think.
I get that, he's loyal. Captain America's like a dog. He's loyal and he's lovable.
Yeah.
But he's so gay for him.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. It's okay.
It's a real-life romance between those two. Oh, yeah.
I wish I loved you that much, AJ.
I know. I do too sometimes. But, alas, we have
wish,
girlfriends.
Wait, no.
Why?
I know, right? Damn you, society.
So I saw a theory that I like a lot. So if Captain America was worthy now, why wasn't he worthy in Age of Ultron? And the theory is that it was because he was still he still knew that Bucky had killed Tony's parents, and he was still keeping it a secret. So now that all was aired out and was out in the open, that he was now worthy.
Right.
Because the interesting thing about Captain America as a character, especially in these movies, is that he doesn't have any growth. He's perfect. He's the only character who is perfect. He doesn't change. He just needs to stay the same. His movies are about how he reacts to the world around him and how characters interact with him.
True.
So I just thought that was worth mentioning. I thought that was awesome.
I totally agree. We actually get to see like a lot of development from him in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get to see the development of his whole life into an old, 90-year-old man or something.
Like the next time you see the first Avenger, Winter Soldier, or Civil War, notice that there is no progress. He doesn't have any growth. He doesn't need to. He's already the embodiment of nobility and doing the right thing. He's
quote unquote perfect in a way.
Yeah.
Although he does use a lot of bad language in this movie. I'm surprised he didn't call himself out for that. Sin had mentioned that after the movie. She's like, she should have called out language on each other or whatever. But whatever.
Character growth.
Yep,
that's how it happens.
Fuck it.
He even says ass.
Yeah, that's
that is
true.
America's
ass. Hashtag
I love
America's
that little
ass.
I could do this all day, and he's like, yeah, I know.
Right.
Yeah.
That was an amazing
Yeah,
part
it's
for
pretty
sure.
great.
I loved that. God damn though. I'm trying to think of everything else I want to touch on. We might have to have like a housekeeping episode where we just touch on everything else that maybe we forgot to mention.
Well, I brought up the TV shows for another reason.
Oh, yes, please.
I wonder if a couple of these were just kind of ploys to throw people off. Okay, so because a Black Widow movie has been announced, are they going to bring her back, or does this take place in the past?
I thought it was.
I was wondering the same. Same with Loki as well and Scarlet Witch.
Loki is confirmed to kind of be in the past, right? Because it's how he affects different times.
Yeah.
And he gets away with the Tesseract.
He does.
He does teleport away.
And they really
to where? To what end?
They really make an effort to show you, like, yeah, he's getting away. Mm-hmm. Like they really cement that in your brain.
And they never find him.
No. So
I didn't even think about that.
That kind of falls back into the whole, like, is there an alternate timeline? Is there not? Did everything get corrected in that timeline and play out as it was anyway? Like,
that's true.
Maybe Captain America fucked it up.
That's what I mean. I brought that up earlier. Like, it raises a lot of questions that don't get answers to. So we may get answers in later films.
Right. And that could add to more excitement because now, some audiences, including myself, might be wondering, where do they go from here at this point? If everything is all corrected, however, that could be a great turning point, is that maybe everything isn't so perfect anymore.
I think they're done. Well, we're going to get a bit of an epilogue with the Spider-Man Far From Home, as John mentioned last week. Yep. Like, we're going to get to see how the world kind of moves on past everything that's happened.
Yeah.
Some people, there's a 5-year age difference between certain people. Because the people that were snapped didn't age, but time passed on. Like Paul, Ant-Man and his daughter. Like his daughter's older now, and
that's so crazy because now everything's
so like
fucked up.
we might get to see how the world kind of adjusts to everything that had gone on.
That's a good point. Damn, I don't know, but I mean, only time will tell.
You don't think they'll just ignore it?
I know, right?
I don't think they can. So. I mean, I think that defeats the whole purpose of building this cinematic universe that they've done, is to just ignore things that have happened in previous films.
I don't know if people being 5 years older than what they used to be makes much of a difference, but I'm sure they'll probably find some creative way to add.
I mean, how
does
society move on from the fact that half the people who were killed, the people that were left, moved on for 5 years? Relationships may have been severed. People may have actually moved on, found other spouses, and now everybody's back. Like that, there's a lot of societal issues that this raises.
That intercultural aspect does make a difference. I feel like they might just touch on it in like a news segment.
I don't think that
with a TV happening in the background.
You're probably right. I don't think they're going to dive that deep into it, but I'm very excited to see how some of these things are touched upon, because I'm curious to see how the world would progress.
Right. I don't know. Hawkeye's wife was willing to welcome him back with open arms, but I don't know. Maybe that's because that was more. That was 5 years they were gone.
They don't
too.
even know 5 years have passed. Even when Spider-Man talks to Tony Stark, he's just like, I was on the Earth and I think I passed out. And then the Doctor Strange dude was there and he started doing that wizard thing that he does with his hands.
So it's time to go.
Yeah.
It is going to be weird to see where they move on. I wonder if they will just ignore it, and I'm kind of okay with that, depending on how much they choose to ignore.
I don't think it's going to get very touched on in one movie, right? Which is Spider-Man.
I said, it'll be treated as an epilogue.
It's very tiny bits here. It's been 5 years since
we're going to get a bit of closure in Far From Home. I'm not expecting all of these questions to be answered, but they're going to have to acknowledge it in some small way.
I think the biggest thing they could do, maybe one of the better things, in my opinion, they could do with this whole repercussions of time travel and such, is that it's just going to unlock a possibility for a new big bad to come into play. Like, oh, okay, you guys did this, well, and maybe Loki got away with the Tesseract, or that version of the Tesseract from that timeline that he was in, or that they were in from Avengers 1. Maybe that means somehow, some way, now a new big bad is
very
come
glad
for
that they didn't do anything for the post credits or any teasing whatsoever.
Did you stay until the very end?
I did.
Did you hear what was it with that?
So there's a couple of ways that you can interpret this. I took it as it's just a throwback to the first Iron Man, of him building his first Iron Man suit, which launched this whole thing. Or you could interpret it as somebody building a new Iron Man suit. Maybe he survived somehow. He had the Infinity Gauntlet for a second. He could have thrown his mind back in time. He could have thrown his mind into a different body. Like, who the hell knows?
Because he's so smart.
Yeah.
He probably thought about it.
So
how are you going to have a Mr. Fantastic and not have a
Tony Stark? Yeah.
True.
Because eventually they're going to bring those characters in.
Yeah, I don't want them to butt heads.
Time. Mm-hmm. We'll be old men.
Yeah,
that's true.
They'll be in.
Going to be as old as Tony Stark in this movie.
Oh, no. Yeah. I hope I can pull off Gray.
They're going to be old men if you think about it. The actors themselves. If RDJ continues to do this, that's the thing. I really feel like this movie was the finality of their Marvel careers.
Yeah.
At least to a very strong degree. And I think that they did that great, but it is kind of weird to think where they're going to go from here.
Oh, yeah. We're going to get a new Iron Man. Yeah. There's no doubt in my mind we will get a new Tony Stark, an actor. Mm-hmm. Maybe 5 years from now, who's it going to be?
That's the real question.
Who could it be?
It could be his daughter.
I think I would honestly think they would reboot the character.
It's possible.
Reboot the character.
I think
so?
because
the Infinity Saga's done. So I think they could just bring in an AJ to play the new
Marvel. I'm open for casting. Let me know. Let me know when.
I mean the cinematic.
By the way, I haven't gotten your checks. Still waiting for them.
Still expecting that in the mail. Yes. DC's looking real attractive right now.
Shazam was pretty damn good.
Yeah. What was I saying?
I don't know.
Can't derail me like this. I've talked about this before.
We were talking about rebooting characters.
Yeah.
And such,
so you think they're going to reboot this entire universe?
No, I think they're gonna
just bring someone else in.
If they're talking about doing side stories, you don't think they'll ever bring back a Tony Stark? You're telling me 5 years
Honestly,
from now?
we're at this point.
There are 5 Jokers.
I wouldn't be surprised if at this point in time, with technology the way that it is, they've already tried it a couple of times in previous movies, or they just bring back 3D renderings of characters as a whole.
Tron. Great example.
Tron. Didn't work out so well there.
That was a little older technology at the time, yeah.
They did it with Princess Leia, where they made her young in like Rogue One.
That
also didn't work. Grand Moff Tarkin in the same movie didn't look very well either.
Yeah,
so we're not quite there yet, but somewhere in the near future, maybe. I wonder if they're going to start doing that. Like, does Disney own the likeness to Robert Downey Jr. to bring back in future movies via that type of technology, or even via a hologram, maybe, like so they can play around with how it doesn't look quite right.
Yeah, I think that's something that they're probably contracting and penning out right now.
That's what I mean. Like, are these in contracts these days?
I wouldn't doubt.
You would think that they would touch on it. Like, how long do you have the rights to my likeness?
That's a fair point.
I'm sure there's contracts we just don't know about.
And for someone like Robert Downey Jr., it's probably going to be worth a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. Mm-hmm. Especially after all of this. After 11 years of Marvel. That's insane to think. But yeah, I mean, how long did Phase 3 last, for that matter? Was it 2 years, 2 or 3 years?
Fuck, when did Ant-Man come out?
The first one or the second one?
First one.
Oh my god.
When did
5 years ago?
Age of Ultron come out? So
yeah, about 5 years ago.
I think Age of Ultron was what, 2014, 15?
There you go. Yeah, about 5-6 years.
I think it was because Guardians came out in 2014. Avengers came out in 2012.
About 2.5 years then, right?
Approximately
2 to 3.
Yeah.
Okay, so then by that point, maybe the tech will be there to where we could see likenesses digitally used. I'm not sure. I mean, it's all speculated.
Well, right now they're not talking to. Well, if rumors are true, they're not talking about doing another long saga like this.
That's fine.
So I'd imagine just crossing over characters, having fun stories, but eventually they're gonna do another saga.
Yeah,
I think at that point they'll reboot characters.
They might reboot everything at that point if they feel it's necessary. I mean, just to bring hype back to the series.
Because there's no way they're gonna go 10 years without bringing back a Captain America or Tony Stark.
Of course.
They're money makers.
I think 10 years will have to be like the longest they would wait.
I honestly don't know. I'm not sure if I agree with that. I don't think.
Want to have a 10-year bet?
That's a fair call.
I might be open to that because this is unprecedented. Nothing like this has ever been achieved in cinema before.
Not quite like this.
Like, there have been franchises that have spawned decades. Star Wars is a perfect example of it. But there's something to this magnitude where they planned a 10-year franchise from the get-go and all of them connect. Like, it's never been done before. Not only did they pull it off in this movie, but maybe, like, it would be a shame to see them reboot this franchise at all. Even if it is 5-10 years in the future. Like, they've already accomplished so much. It would definitely leave a bitter taste in my mouth if and when they ever reboot it.
Sure.
I'm sure eventually it's going to get stale.
We're going to be like our parents saying we like the old actors better one day.
Yeah.
It's just that's our destiny. Mm-hmm. But
we talked about it a few podcast episodes ago that it was already kind of getting stale.
To a degree.
Studios and writers are doing a lot of different things right now.
Which helps.
And I think Marvel's definitely doing the same thing. The TV shows that I mentioned, for instance, like, they have like fucking 6-7 TV shows announced.
That's a lot.
They have the Scarlet Witch one, which, by the way, is called WandaVision. So that would mean they need to they're bringing back Vision somehow.
Yeah. That's interesting.
I just realized that at the moment.
I don't know if I care for the name WandaVision.
Maybe it's just the relationship they had because they disappeared for a bit, right?
Oh, in the comic books, there are a couple.
Yes, definitely.
Before Vision makes his own robot wife and goes back to wearing sweater vests.
That's a miniseries, right?
Yeah.
That series is great.
I haven't read it, but I've seen a couple of stills. And it's very uncomfortable seeing him in a sweater vest and his whole robot family in sweater vests.
Do you know the name of that comic?
I don't know the name of it.
We'll
it's fairly recent. It came out like 2-3 years ago, maybe.
I think I want to read that.
If you know who's listening, let us know at STGeekPod, Instagram, Twitter. Hit us up. Let us know. God, yeah, I don't know. I honestly, if for the next few years, maybe 2-3 years, they just decide to do one-off movies, I'm fine with that. But I wonder if they will try to do this again. I imagine they will.
I'm sure
due to the success.
They would have to. You're going to bring in. You have the rights to the. I think this would be a perfect time, by the way.
Well, my girlfriend tagged me on something during the pod right now, and it says
breaking news.
As of right now, it's at $1.2 billion.
Jesus, that's opening weekend.
Yeah,
that's not. Yeah, the weekend's not even over.
It is not over. It's Sunday. We're recording this right now.
Avengers 3 had the second biggest now, and that was only a $0.8 billion.
Jesus.
Wow. So it wasn't even at $1 billion. This one...
More people saw this movie opening weekend. More than double.
Good luck, Hollywood, trying to top that.
Yeah.
1.8 billion, you said? What was it? Or
right.
no, 0.8 for Infinity War. It was
1.2.
Oh, okay, so almost double.
Yep.
Jesus Christ. That is insane to see how many more people are seeing this weekend one than ever
Bring
before.
it on,
no one wants the
Avatar.
spoilers. Right? They're not going to hit anything like that. I highly doubt. Unless that trailer is extremely impressive, which I think it will look pretty, but will it gather people to want to see it so badly as much as this? I can't say no. I can't say there's any way possible. No way. I mean, they just haven't earned it as much, I would say. Nowhere near it. But yeah, I do look forward to seeing one-off films. Yep. Not everything having to connect so tightly anymore. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I do look forward to maybe one day building towards maybe Secret Wars. Who knows?
And if they did have a plan for the next 10 years of Marvel, they're going to have to change it slightly now that they own Fox.
True. If they choose to even utilize that very one, which I'm sure they will,
have to.
Hence them buying it.
Yeah, I mean, they did that for a reason. I mean, I think I spoke about it in previous, that one of the bigger rumors that they bought out Fox, the reason they bought out Fox in the first place was specifically to get back the X-Men and Fantastic Four. So now that I think about it, maybe that was part of the plan. Maybe they do have a plan and it actually involves those characters.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Because we have Kang the Conqueror, that can be another big bad. Galactus is an obvious one.
Yes, of course. Eventually that will happen.
Still kind of upset that Ultron was underutilized. Ultron's a really cool villain. Maybe.
I've loved him because of Marvel's Capcom Infinite. That game has made me fall in love with that character.
Yeah, but even that game's version of that character is better than the Age of Ultron version.
Maybe. I do love the actor that played Ultron, though.
I did too. I was excited for it, but he was too... I mean, it makes sense. He was supposed to be like sort of an offshoot of Tony Stark, which is why he's kind of snarky and funny, but he just wasn't the menacing like villain that I wanted him to be. The villain from the comic books.
Yeah.
Some may say the same about Thanos, but I think Thanos is a pretty great villain, but he wasn't menacing at all until this film, I feel.
Yeah.
Like we didn't get to see his dark side to anything other than just he thought he was right the entire time in Infinity War, but that didn't necessarily make him much of a bad guy, I would say. Genocidal maniac, maybe. Bad guy, I don't know.
He's doing it for the greater good in his beliefs, and he's not doing anything for any personal gain. That's why I don't feel like he has that villain mentality.
Yeah.
Because everything he's doing, he thinks it really is for the greater good.
Until he says he's going to kill Earth and
the only problem is he's killing people who aren't okay with that.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Right? Which, obviously you're going to get some resistance. But, Endgame. Thank you, Marvel, for 11 years. I look forward to 11 more and seeing where it goes. Yep. Hopefully, only continually up. I look forward to that. We'll see. Maybe this means that they won't release movies as frequently anymore. I'm fine with that.
They're taking a break, they said. They said
so.
They're taking a break after Far From Home comes out.
That's good. I think it's necessary.
Which is probably why they haven't announced any release dates or anything. You know how previously they would be like, we have this movie this year, this movie that year. All that stuff.
And the Russo brothers aren't doing it anymore.
Oh, yeah.
So they got to find other people to...
That'll do it as good.
This is a good curtain call for them to dip out. They've done so much for the franchise.
Can you imagine how stressed they've been and doing all of that?
I'm sure
they could retire. I mean, look at the money you just announced. Like, they could retire right now.
Yeah, easily.
Enjoy the retirement. Enjoy the millions.
They were TV show directors, right?
Yeah.
To think that they were able to pull this off cinematically. Like, I mean, if you can run a TV show, you know how to serialize things and make things go from one movie or one entry to another. But
their movies are hands down the best movies in the MCU.
Unprecedented,
yeah. Unprecedented.
It's ridiculous.
Other franchises have tried. Do you see?
And now they're learning their lessons slowly, too.
Yeah.
Take it one movie at a time.
They did learn their lessons. They're not doing a saga.
Exactly, right?
Well,
exactly.
Here are the two things that I've really been thinking about this the past couple of days. Here are the two things that I think Marvel did that really propelled their franchise in ways where others have tried to emulate but have failed miserably in damn near all cases. Number one, they had a plan from the beginning. They knew where they wanted this storyline to go. They were the ones that remember how crazy it was when they announced. I talked to you, Jai. It was in high school. We were in high school when this happened. Do you remember how fucking blown we were when they announced that they were going to do solo movies culminating in an Avengers movie?
That
was just at the time unheard of.
We were in high school when that happened. We were in yearbook. The yearbook class when we were freaking out over that shit.
And we're just like, how the fuck are they going to pull this off with these characters, no less? At the time, Thor, Captain America, and Iron Man were C-list Marvel characters. Nobody gave a shit about them. Mm-hmm. John and I did. They're some of our favorite characters.
But yeah, most didn't.
Yeah. But most people didn't. Like I said earlier, Spider-Man was the number one thing. So to see just how much they were... I'm going back into nostalgia. Let me finish what I was going to say.
Okay.
So number one, they had a plan. Number two, they committed.
Yeah, they did.
They over 11 years, they committed to that plan.
Mostly for the better.
Yeah.
Vastly.
There were some ups, there were some downs, mostly ups, some whatevers, but they committed. Through thick and thin, they committed to this plan.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where other franchises have failed. They didn't see the numbers right away. They just fucking pushed it to the side. Or they, in DC's case, they tried to change everything mid-franchise.
Yeah.
Like... Take notes, everyone else. This is how you do it.
If ever you wanted to do 11 years of cinematic history.
And Disney didn't start it. It was Paramount, right?
It was not Disney who started it, correct. I don't think they bought it till around Avengers, if I'm not mistaken. Or was it even after that?
I don't remember the timeline, quite frankly.
Fuck, was it after?
It might have been. I want to say maybe they got that Disney money right
so
when
was
Avengers
it Paramount who started it? No, Marvel Studios.
It was Marvel Studios, but it was...
Paramount.
By Paramount?
Yes, that's what it was. Because then Disney bought Marvel Studios.
Yes.
Wow, that's crazy to think. What a lineage. And I think the quality only bumped from there for the most part, I would say.
Yeah.
And you know the crazy thing is Kevin Feige's been around for a long time, and he supported a lot of the shitty ones, too. Like Last Stand, he was executive producer, and all of those.
Well, because he wasn't the full-on creative force behind those movies.
That's what I was going to say. He grinded it out.
Having a Kevin Feige on the team this was his masterpiece. This was his... everything, because he's a big fan of the comics himself.
Yes,
so you need somebody like that, which is kind of funny. The other parallels to DC are that DC tried to get their Kevin Feige by hiring on Jeff Johns as the creative director of the DC movies, who's also a writer on a lot of the DC comic books. So does a lot of good runs, I might add. He's doing one right now, Doomsday Clock. It's really good.
I'll have to check that out.
I heard it's whatever.
It's pretty... You heard wrong, sir. It's pretty great.
Maybe we'll have to read it.
Great. But then again, I also really appreciate and love The Watchmen. So maybe I'm biased. I don't know. But I think it's... Anyway, I digress.
You enjoy the media. There's nothing wrong with that.
You lost my train of thought again. God damn it.
They
DC's trying to get their Kevin Feige by doing Jeff Johns, but they even backtracked on that. They started taking creative control away from him. And that's the type of person you want. Is a person who's really
adamant about things. Remember, there was somebody on top of Kevin Feige who was making these movies terrible, and then he ended up getting this guy not fired, but he ended up being in charge of TV shows. I don't know if you remember about that.
Yeah, because Kevin Feige, Inhumans was never part of his plan.
No,
they were forcing him to make an Inhumans movie, and then I guess he somehow convinced them to be like, this isn't going to work, and then that's why they pushed it to a TV show, for better or worse.
What was that guy's name? He was the same one that said that.
I know who you're talking about, but I can't remember his name.
He made that remark that girl superheroes don't sell.
Yeah.
Wow. And look at the irony of that statement.
So then they ended up not getting rid of him, but Kevin Feige was he only reported to one person at that point.
And it was that guy, yeah.
Wow. Well, then I guess it's definitely
it was a great thing. That's when a lot of the crappier movies started to come out.
Superheroes don't sell. Jesus Christ. That's $1 billion mistake.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
Well, he's old. I think he was like...
It's short-sighted for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of... It's a generational thing. I think it was... Jerry Lewis. Don't quote me on this. I want to say it's Jerry Lewis. I could be wrong. He once went on record to say that women comedians aren't funny. Or just girls aren't funny.
Wow.
Something like that.
And yet we have Melissa McCarthy being one of the top paid actresses in the world, I imagine.
Yep.
She's made so much money.
It's a generational thing. I'm not saying it's right. It's certainly not. But, I mean, people just have that mentality.
That isn't to say there aren't open-minded older people.
Of course.
No, but at the same time, again, I imagine to a majority, maybe some feel a certain way like that. Yep. That's fair. Mm-hmm. All right, guys. Well, before we get political and all that, I think we should probably wrap it up for the day. It's been about almost 2 hours.
Really?
Of this
I thought this
episode.
was going to be a short one, too, because we only had like 2 topics.
I knew it was
but
gonna
we
be
were
a
also
long
talking
one.
about a 3-hour long
I knew it was
movie.
going to be a long one, yeah.
Wow. All right, guys. Well, next episode, what are we talking about?
I don't think we decided. Okay, so...
Should we talk about this outside of the
we'll
pod?
talk about this after.
All right. Well, just know every
Follow
Monday
us on
we
Twitter.
do.
We'll let you know what we're doing next week.
Yeah, we'll definitely shout it out for sure. If you have any suggestions, though, any questions or topics you want us to bring up in future episodes, at STGeekPod, Twitter and Instagram. You can also email us if social media isn't quite your thing. That's STGeekPod@gmail.com. Thank you, MUZMM, for sponsoring this episode. 20% off any luggage that you want. You can go to MUZMM.com/discount/STGeekPod, or just use STGeekPod at checkout. Thank you so much. Any parting words, guys?
Go and watch the
I'm in
goddamn
tears.
movie.
If you haven't seen it, watch it. Why'd you listen to this? You should be watching the movie. Watch it again.
Yeah, if you've seen it already, go watch it again. You'll probably see me there. I'm going to be there in a much better
Hopefully
projector.
the screen works.
I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Check.
Check.
Check your booty.